Hey, hey there, everyone. I'm Walter Snacklefox, doing another Surviving in Another World as a Villainous Fox Girl stream. These are very cute books in the Otome Isekai genre. Uh, Not a whole lot of conflict. The main plot development is just the main character getting introduced to a lot of other characters and then struggling because they're introverts. Something that I don't necessarily have trouble with, but I like the girls. They're really cute, they're really fun, and I have fun reading through their adventures. So, we are currently on chapter 7, as you'll see here, and we are getting very, very close to the end of the book. It's only 10 chapters. These are Japanese light novels translated into English, and this was just kind of a uh, love project for this particular lit novel to bring it over. So we're gonna start right now. Please get some cozy hot chocolate or coffee or tea or something that won't keep you up too late at night, and join in and enjoy yourself. Chapter 7: Wells, the smooth talking master blacksmith. Angela had left after dinner to head back to the inn she was staying at. She'd already paid for her room and felt bad inconveniencing the owner, especially since she'd been staying in the same room in the inn for so long. She promised she'd be back as soon as she had a word with the innkeeper. Kiefer and Candace ended up staying overnight instead due to Kiefer's complaints about heading back so late was too big of a pain. Of course, Candace couldn't leave without him, but that didn't stop her from complaining about the situation non-stop. She didn't seem that upset about getting to spend extra time with Hector, though. Hee hee, she's so cute. I'll make sure everything gets cleared up, so feel free to use the bath, Hector says after carrying all the cutlery and plates into the kitchen. Still, so many dirty dishes. I feel bad dumping it all on him. It seems like a lot, though, I protest. I can handle it, he insists. You two did so much tonight, you deserve a nice, relaxing soak in the tub. Go on. Candace seems entranced by his sweet voice and gentle smile. To be fair, he is pretty cool. I don't know why Claire seems to be rubbing her own arms. I still feel bad about taking advantage of his kindness. In the end, I can't help but feel bad, mainly because housework is the only thing I'm good at. Good idea. I'm more than happy to take it easy. Not you, Rennie. And you're helping. And you too, Macro, Hector snaps. Cheh, Rennie clicks his tongue. It makes me feel a little better to see Rennie and Macro goofing off whenever they feel like it, but I don't want to make them do anything they'd rather not do at all. Hector, there's no point in trying to make that ginger dummy do anything, Macro says dryly. He's so useless, he'll end up breaking all the dishes anyway. What? I can handle washing a couple of dishes. Leave me alone, you angsty pipsqueak. Make me, you ex-convict. I stand there flabbergasted as I watch yet another fight break out between them. Sheesh, how does this always happen? You go on ahead, Claire, I say with a strained smile. You can spend some time with Candace, and I'll join you after I finish cleaning up. Ugh, fine. I had a feeling you would say that. She knows me better than anyone. Just one thing first, Claire whispers urgently under her breath. I'm worried about leaving you alone with Hector. If he tries anything, just holler, okay? Try something. He's such a nice guy. I don't think I'll really have anything to worry about. She worries way too much. Okay. Seems easier to simply promise her I'll be careful, even if I think she's exaggerating. Seriously worried. She lets out a deep sigh, repeating how worried she is about me. Why? I send Claire and Candace off to the bathroom before hurrying to the kitchen, where I'm greeted by Hector, who seems truly apologetic. I wanted to give you a break, and you ended up helping out anyway. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it, I say with a big smile. Claire did pretty much all of the cooking, while I stood around doing nothing. That's why it makes me feel a little bit better to help clean up. I had a feeling that just saying, don't worry about it, wouldn't convince him, which is why I elaborated a little. That seemed to do the trick. Hector falls silent, his cheeks turning slightly pink. Hey, Hector, I say, I really appreciate you looking out for us, but I want to help out more around here. I mean, we're all friends now, right? It's been a while since I could talk to Hector alone like this, so I decided to open up about something that's been weighing on my mind recently. Sometimes I feel as if he's going out of his way to be extra kind to me. Maybe it's my imagination. To be fair, there's still a lot about him I don't know, but he seems to treat Claire way differently. Maybe it's because of how she treats him too, but it actually seems like they're both being real with each other. Sure, seeing them fight constantly makes me super anxious. I just want everyone to get along, of course. Also, perhaps it's a bit weird, little weird, but I'm kind of envious of his relationship with Claire and all of his friends. It makes sense he'd be super close with Winnie and Macro, considering they've been his friends since they were kids. But then he's also just really casual and friendly with Angela, who we also just met today, as well as Kiefer and Candace, and I'm sure he'll be just as friendly with everyone else we asked to join the guild, since they're all already Hector's friends. It's just me he treats this way. He only dotes on me, and it makes me feel a little sad. Don't get the wrong idea. It's not like that I hate it. It's just that it feels like there's this wall between Hector and me. Of course, there's no way I can bring it up directly. My ears and tail droop sadly as I struggle to express myself, and as I'm able to read my thoughts, I notice him looking concerned, which only makes me feel worse. I'm so sorry. You're probably right. I'm sorry. Honestly, I'm just a little lost. Lost? How? What is he worried about? When I ask him what he means, he simply smiles at me before continuing. We only met for the first time not that long ago, right? Part of me feels bad that I basically talked you into coming along with us, dragging you away from the small yet safe village you grew up in. I can see tears in his eyes as he speaks, as if he really is conflicted, so I wait for him to finish. As he continues to talk, he focuses on his hands, and I follow suit, my ears straining to pick out his voice through the clatter of dishes and utensils being washed. It seems like Claire's really been trying to get on my nerves lately, so I merely give her the same attitude she gives me. I feel bad about it, but she's just so grouchy sometimes, I can't help myself. You must think I'm a real jerk. I see. He's simply treating Claire the same way she treats him. Claire knows about the game. She has a hunch Hector does too. I'm sure she's just being hypersensitive. Perhaps Hector's getting caught up in Claire's annoyance because he's just as aware of the game as she is. Although, to be fair, we still have no idea if he knows anything about the game to begin with. That's not true. I like how real and true you are and true to yourself you are with Claire. Do? I begin drying the clean dishes with a cloth, too embarrassed to look anywhere but at my hands. I can feel the weight of his gaze on me, though. And not just when you're dealing with Claire. I feel the same way, even when you're with Rinny and Macro too. I know that's who you really are, and I wish you'd stop being someone you're not with me. I want you to be yourself, not this guy who goes out of his way to treat me nicer than everyone else. I try to sound as natural and unconcerned as possible, although I feel embarrassed bringing it up at all. I sound like a child. I don't know. When I'm myself, people say I'm pretty argumentative and sullen. Completely opposite from how I look. It doesn't bother you at all? Who says that? He has a tendency to speak his mind, but I don't feel that's a bad thing. He does have some princely physical features, I admit. I was charmed the first time I laid my eyes on him, and his sweet, gentle smile definitely suits him. Still, he looks just as sweet, even when he's joking around with his friends, complaining, causing a fuss, or being completely serious. I don't want to be judged by how I look, and I wish he wouldn't care as much about how other people think about him. Nope, not in the slightest. That's part of what makes you you. I like you the way you are, Hector. Miku! I'm still embarrassed, but I force myself to look up from my hands and into Hector's eyes. His cheeks are still very red, but I think he's happy. And if he is, I am too. You don't need to baby me, okay? I want you to treat me like everyone else, I stress. That last part was a little selfish, but oh well. I just feel so awkward when he treats me differently than everyone else. I want him to see me the same as the others. His eyes widen in surprise at my determination and bring up an issue I care strongly about before he smiles almost shyly. Miku, that's how you feel, then I'll try to do better. His smile is so radiant and pure, I feel myself melting. He really is very handsome. I understand why Candace immediately said his looks were his best asset. Hee hee, I won't tell Claire how I feel as she'll just get angry, although I promise I'm totally not in love. Thanks for being my friend, Hector. Course, thanks for you for being mine. His face is still bright red, as if he's still embarrassed, but I feel a lot closer to him, which makes me happy. I hope each day brings all of us a little closer. Once all the dishes are dried and put back into place, I feel a warm coziness inside my heart. The next day, I quietly gather my belongings, trying not to wake Claire or Candace and sneak out of the bedroom. Seeing the two of them sound asleep together in the same bed was adorable. Last night, Candace showed up at our door, clutching her pillow and wanting to chat. The two had been sitting on Claire's bed, and they must have fallen asleep like that. I had been chatting with them from my own bed, but I must have drifted off at some point, which is why I have no idea when they fell asleep. Considering how dead to the world they are now, it's clear they probably stayed up pretty late. It was the first time we'd ever spent the night chatting with a friend, which was a lot of fun. Candace seemed to be enjoying herself as well, and I hope we'll have more days and nights like that one. At the very least, I'll let the two of them sleep in a little longer, which means I'm in charge of making breakfast. It'll be fine. I can do that much at least. I'm not completely useless. As long as I stick to the basics, I can do this. Toast and eggs should be good, right? I descend the stairs to the first floor as I plan out breakfast in my head. Well, well, you're up early, Miku. Eep! Rinny? Rinny? I turn the core, all pumped up over my breakfast menu, when I immediately come face to face with an unexpected sight. Hearing my name, I turn to greet him, but instead let out a surprised yelp. Right in front of my eyes is Rinny, dressed in nothing but a towel. Oh my gosh, I have no idea where to look. What's wrong, Miku? You look flustered. I feel myself panicking at the sight of his half-naked body, but he seems completely unconcerned. In fact, he begins approaching me without a care in the world, causing me to let out another squeak. Eep, please put some clothes on, and don't come any closer until you do. I cry. Huh? I purposefully look away, flailing my arms in front of me in an attempt to keep him back. He seems genuinely surprised by my outburst. I'm still a girl, so at least have a little decency. Oops, right. Sorry. I'm used to living with only dudes, but I guess I forgot. Not even a good morning, huh? Am I that terrible looking? Well, I'm kind of hurt here. I'm just I'm just not used to it. He's clearly teasing me as he walks off, chuckling to himself. He's probably heading back to his room. This isn't funny at all. I glance in the direction he went, but he's already gone. Whew! He's going to give me a heart attack this early in the morning. Rubbing my flaming red cheeks vigorously with both hands, I get back to myself, back together, and start making breakfast. I decided to scramble up some eggs and fry up some bacon, along with a couple of slices of thick cut bread and a simple salad. It might not be enough for someone like Macro, but this is the best I can do. I'm not very good at making stuff from scratch like soup, and anything with a knife is out. Paring knives are fine, but anything bigger than that is too scary for me. The more I think about it, the more amazing Claire is in my eyes. Honestly, I admire anyone who can handle any sort of knife or sword. Wow, something smells good. Rennie! My ears swivel in his direction as he once again calls out in his loud, jovial voice. I'm on edge because of what happened earlier, but when I turn, I see he's dressed in his usual clothes, and I feel my body instantly relax. Whew! Can I have some? I'm starving. Of course. What about everyone else? Are they still asleep? Asked Rennie, who's beaming happily as he carries a plate piled high with food to the table. Macro usually sleeps in until noon, and when he's got nothing planned, he explains, and Hector takes his time in the morning. I see. They're usually awake and out of bed really early when they have work to do. It's interesting to see this different side to them. Hearing me say that, Rennie screws his face up in annoyance. That's not how they are at all. Getting them up in the morning is a huge pain. You practically gotta smack them awake. You should have seen how you should help me drag them out of bed sometime, and then you'll really understand how I feel. Seriously, I think I'll pass them. I automatically turn down his offer after hearing the seriousness in his voice. Oh, Rennie cries out in frustration, causing me to giggle as I pour myself a cup of coffee. Oh, Rennie, you want some coffee too? I ask. Oh, thanks. Black's fine. Sure thing. So Rennie takes his coffee black, huh? He did say he doesn't like sweets. I should try and remember that. I love coffee, but I can't drink it without a bit of sugar and milk. He watches as I add 3 cubes of sugar to my cup. Do you want some coffee without sugar? He asks teasingly. But yours will still probably taste like coffee, unlike Macro, who takes 5 cubes. With coffee in hand, he begins digging into his food. Wow, Macro has a serious sweet tooth. Are you always up this early, Rennie? Wanting to learn more about Rennie, I start asking him questions about himself. Nothing too serious, just run of the mill icebreakers, like morning routines or favorite things. The more things you know about him, the easier it'll be to live together. I'm pretty useless on the job front, but I can make sure everyone's comfortable while they're at home. I usually go for a jog around the neighborhood every morning just to keep in shape. Day hasn't officially started until I've worked up a sweat first. He's got a surprisingly normal lifestyle. He's always lounging around on the couch, and he's just so rough and tumble in general that I assumed he acted in the same his day-to-day activities. Assuming everything is no good, I need to do better. Does that surprise you? What? No, it's just he's right on the mark, and I can't help but get flustered in response. Oh shoot, did I say what I was thinking out loud? I desperately try to come up with an excuse, but nothing comes out of my mouth. All I can do there is sit there, waving my arms around. Rennie, clearly amused, roars with laughter. You're so easy to read, Miku. I always knew exactly how you feel. Ugh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, Rennie. It's not that I think badly of you or anything. I get it. I get it. You didn't think I was like that, right? I get that a lot. I'm used to it, so it doesn't really bother me. Just yesterday, I learned making assumptions based on appearances was bad during my conversation with Hector, and here I am, just doing the same thing all over again. You just can't help with your initial impressions. Come on, don't look so sad, Rennie says. Besides, we've only known each other for a short while. These things happen when you're getting to know each other. Besides, I always thought you were a quiet girl who just does what she's told, but you're actually pretty stubborn and you hate to lose. My eyes my eyes open wide in surprise at his words. All of what he said is true. I nod silently as I listen to him talk. I've picked up some things just by talking with you, and there's so much I still don't know. There's no need to get worked up about it. Besides, it's kind of fun when you realize someone thought of you knew has a different side to them. Yeah, he's right. You can learn some things by asking them directly, but that won't tell you everything there is to know about someone. You can only truly learn who someone is by spending time with them. That really does sound like fun. Yeah, you're right. I'll just have to watch all of you, including Rini, like a hawk, so I can learn everything about you. Ha 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 ha! You don't need to watch us that closely. You'll make me blush. My piercing gaze will cut a hole right through you, I tease. I love talking with Rini. His jokes are so easy to understand, making it easy to joke around with him. He's the type of person who can really lighten a room. Having fun together so early in the morning sets the perfect tone for the rest of the day. Just as we finish eating breakfast, Claire and Candace stumble down the stairs. They still seem pretty sleepy. Knowing Claire's tendency to be grumpy in the morning makes me think they really did stay up pretty late last night. Good morning, you two, I greet them. Want me to make you some plates? I cooked breakfast. Morning, Miku, Claire says. I feel bad asking, but I'd love some food. It's no problem at all. Sit. You too, Candace. Candace yawns in response, mumbling a sleepy, thanks. The way her cat ears twitch this way and that is so cute. It's my pleasure. Hector and Macro are sleeping in today, but we should really get to Wells' place before noon. Rini folds his hands behind his head as he complains about the two missing guys while watching the sleepy girls. Wells, is that the person we're asking to join our guild? I ask as I dished out the food. Yeah, we could probably head over to see him without needing to wait for Macro and Hector. I'm an adult. I can handle a little chit-chat, Rini mutters as if that possibility just hit him. Huh? But if we want him to join our guild, then it's a little more important than simple chit-chat, I ask, right? We should probably wait until everyone's ready. At the very least, the guild leader should definitely be there. Rini laughs my hurried words off by telling me it'll be fine and to just trust him. I'm sure Wells would prefer it if we didn't all come at once, not being a fan of formal affairs and all. Yep, I know how he is. All right, I'm heading over there. It seems like Wells is the early to bed, early to rise type. It's easy for him to get work done in the morning, and I know how hard it can be to break old habits. With that in mind, he probably would get grumpy getting disturbed in the afternoon, which means it makes far more sense to go now when he's awake and in high spirits. I get it, but still. Wait, hold on, Rini. Come on, at least let me come too. Rini's the type who acts right away without stopping to think about it. 1 minute he's standing up from the table, and the next he's ready to step out the front door. I yelp after him, struggling to keep up. In that case, I'm coming too. Hearing my call out to Rini, Claire cries out, frazzled. Rini stands there, clearly annoyed, with his arms crossed. Why? I can tell it's gonna take you a while to get ready. Miku can come since she's ready to go. We don't have to wait around if we're going to get there before shop opens for the day. That's a fair point. Plus, I want Claire to enjoy her breakfast as well. There's only one reasonable option here. I smile at Claire. Don't worry, Claire. I'll go with Winnie. Just tell Hector and Macro where we were when they wake up, okay? Claire grumbles under her breath, but it's clear that she knows this is for the best. She doesn't harp on the issue, so I guess she's accepted my decision to accompany Winnie by myself, for better or worse. Ugh, okay, fine, Winnie. You better not take your eyes off Miku even for a second. She's a very cute and oblivious kid, making her an easy target for all sorts of weirdos. With her mind made up, she points a finger at Rinny as she lectures him. Don't point at people, Claire. It's rude. Plus, don't you think you're being a little bit harsh? Ha ha ha, I get it. I'll take good care of her. Okay, let's go, Miku. Okay, thanks for letting me tag along. We smile at each other as we leave the guild. Claire's shouts of anger at Rinny's supposed lack of ability and know-how ringing out behind us. She really needs to try and lighten up a little. As I follow Rinny, I try to learn more about this Wells guy. I can't just show up unprepared. You said you wanted to see him before he opens up shop. What sort of shop does he run? Will he be okay joining our guild with a shop, I ask? You don't know anything about him yet, huh? Wells sells armor and weapons. He runs the entire operation himself. A weapons and armor store? It's not really something I'm familiar with. After all, our village is so peaceful, we have no need for either of those things. We have plenty of farming tools, but that's completely different. We want him to join the guild, but honestly, just having his name associated with ours is good enough. We don't really need help taking care of the jobs we get, meaning anyone in the guild is allowed to carry on as they see fit. As long as he works under the Lana Killer guild banner, he can continue making and mending weapons and armor to his heart's content. He'll maintain our weapons for us, and he gets to use our name. It's a win-win. So Wells is a merchant, huh? He must have a lot of customers. It sounds like he's skilled enough to build a name for himself. Although Rainey and the others think he's wasting his time and talents. Once word gets out that he's a blacksmith in a high-tier guild, his clientele will triple overnight, and we'll be able to raise our fees since he'll be so well known. That's what they want to use as a bargaining chip. I get it. By joining the guild, he'll gain prestige. He always complains about how big of a pain it is. He wants more work to make more money, but he hates selling himself. Advertising and getting the word out about his store is a waste of time, he says. Guys like him and Kiefer are so focused on their craft that they don't have time for anything else. I guess that's how it goes. They put so much into their craft that they can't think about anything else. With that in mind, joining a high-ranking guild like Lana Killer would offer him a lot of benefits. I hope he agrees. We finally make it into the heart of the city. We pass a large water fountain and head down a small alley beside the bustling market, which is getting ready to open for the day. We're once again stepping off the beaten path, just like when we went to see Kiefer. The rent for shops out in the main plaza is too expensive, Rini tells me. Renting land is pretty tough. You can't get a store on the main street unless you're already doing well for yourself. That makes sense. Although I'm surprised he runs his own business but can't afford to rent space in the main plaza. Honestly, just being able to open a store at all is pretty impressive to me. His store is almost worryingly small and shabby, but not as shifty as Kiefer's. So we're using Kiefer's workshop as a basis of comparison? Well, okay. A broken down shack is a little concerning, but I'm sure everything will make sense once we arrive. Besides, what's really important is his personality. Since it's still so early, there's almost no one around. I've heard rumors of a morning market that happens once a month. It's spread out around the main fountain, draws the types of crowds you wouldn't normally see at this time of day. Uh, I don't really like crowds that much, but I'd still love to see it at least once. I'll have to make a mental note to come back. You should be able to see it now. And it looks like he's out front. Rennie suddenly speaks up after we've been walking down a small alley for a bit, and I look in the direction where he's pointing. What? Really? He wasn't kidding when he said the store was run down and shabby. It doesn't have any windows, and the door is falling off its hinges. Plus, it looks like parts of the building have been glued together. I wonder how someone so good at making weapons and armor could be so bad at basic home repair. It can't be that different, right? He's definitely a weirdo. Hey Wells, how's it going? Rennie greets the man out front. He's currently placing a sign on the entrance to the building. His deep brown tail, covered in scales, is pretty impressive. He seems to be a lizard demi-human. He turns at the sound of Rennie's voice, and I notice his long hair, swept back from his face, is the same shade of brown as his tail. He's puffing on a cigarette with a pair of goggles hanging around his neck, and his sharp gaze swings in our direction. Well, if it isn't Rennie, what are you doing out here so bright and early in the morning, and with a cutie no less? On a hot date? As soon as he spots Rennie, he breaks into a smile, puffing merrily on a cigarette. His bulky build makes him seem pretty tough, but the smile makes him look sweet, although it clashes with his piercing gaze. Wait a minute. Did he ask if we're on a date? We're definitely not on a date. I correct him at once. My name's Miku. I recently joined the Lana Killer Guild. I have to make sure he knows he's right away. Otherwise, Claire will get angry. To think we're on a date just because we're walking together? Although, to be fair, if I saw a boy and a girl walking someone together, I'd assume they were on a date too. Ugh, I'm no good at this kind of stuff. You've got a mouth on you, girlie. Your tail's all puffed up. How adorable. Don't tease her too much. She got freaked out this morning when she saw me half naked. Rennie! Wells has an air of maturity about him. Although he teased me when he first saw me, for some reason, it didn't make me feel uncomfortable. Honestly, the real jerk is Rennie bringing up that incident from earlier, and with everyone looking at me, my face is redder than ever. Oh really? How cute. You've got a real sweetie on your hands. She's a rare find nowadays. Take good care of her, Rennie. Oh, I'm well aware. Her sister's been nagging me to make sure I keep an eye on her, and I'm doing just that. Wells smiles cheerfully at me while taking a puff from his cigarette. I was worried at first, seeing the dismal state of the store, but Wells seems really cheerful and energetic. I'm not sure how that relates to his skill, but based on a first meeting alone, I too agree that his talent is going to waste hidden away here. Well, forget about that for now. There's something I wanted to discuss with you before you open shop, Rennie says. You're here saying you didn't come out here just to see me? You're killing me. Don't say things you don't mean. Besides, you know what brings us here. There's a camaraderie between them that reminds me of old drinking buddies. It's clear that they're on good terms. However, all they do is constantly tease each other, making it difficult to tell if they're actually joking or being serious. It seems like the two people who seem the friendliest and are the easiest to get along with are the ones you need to watch out for the most. They're good at putting you off your guard. I believe Claire referred to folks like that as con artists. Wells isn't one of the love interests, but I like him. Watch out, though, because he'll pull a fast one on you if you're not careful. That's what Claire told me once while telling me about her game, but I'm not worried. He might like to take advantage of people, but I know how he would never do anything to hurt those close to him. I'm not sure if this Wells is the same as the one she knows, but based on what I've learned so far, I don't think I need to be worried about anything. Just as the thought crosses my mind, just as the thought crosses my mind, Will suddenly slaps his forehead and shakes his head as if in shock. The look on his face is one of deep sadness. Now, why would you go and say a thing like that? I really thought my friends were coming all this way just to pay me a social visit. Aw, I got feelings too, you know. And keeps on. And they hurt like anyone else's. Thanks for ruining my day. I'm not in the mood to talk to anyone anymore. As I gasp in surprise, Rainy whispers in my ear, he's saying he'll only listen to what we have to say depending on how we go about it. He can be a real pain like that. Oh, I get it. He's like a small child. I thought as much, but what can we do? At a loss, I watch as Wells turns around and, with his shoulders slumped, trudges back into the store. We can't let him go without talking about what we came for. I suddenly call out to him, excuse me, Wells. Having not thought this far ahead, I have no idea what to say next. I mean, we just met. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what he likes to talk about, or more importantly, what topics to avoid. I don't know anything. Part of how you get to know people, though, is conversation. So, oh, wait, that's perfect. I want to know more about you. Ak, Miku. That's right. In order to become friends with someone, you have to learn more about them. Which is why I said that, but why is Rinny so flustered? Did I say something wrong? She really is quite something. That's the most passionate and direct pickup line I have ever heard. I can really feel the love. Seeing my obvious confusion, Wells, who had been so sad just a minute ago, bursts into peals of laughter. That's when I realize my misstep. Eep, I wasn't trying to hit on you. My cheeks are flaming red and just as hot. It seems all I'm doing today is blushing like crazy. So she was just messing with us the whole time? Oh, but I was so psyched to meet a girl as cute as you flirt with me. You didn't mean it? Huh? Oh, well. I did mean it. I really want to know more about you, Wells. Truly. I just didn't mean it like that. Then how did you mean it? Tell me. He lifts my chin with the tip of his finger, bringing his face close to mine before grinning with devilish delight. That look in his eyes is so enchanting. Oh gosh, what do I do? Claire! Oh, the face. He's like an elf, I guess. Okay, break it up, you two. If you two go any further, Hector's gonna be mad. I wouldn't want that. Just as I was on the verge of panicking, Brinny swiftly steps in between us. Whew, but why did you mention Hector? If anyone's gonna get angry here, it's Claire. Well, whatever. Wells seems far less upset than before, although there's no way I'm trusting him ever again after a stunt like that. Sorry about that. Don't get all fluffed up. You look too cute when you're angry. Wells, he doesn't seem to care, even with my fur all puffed up with anger, waving off my cry of annoyance playfully. He doesn't feel bad at all. In fact, he seems to enjoy making me upset. Arrgh! Thanks to little Missy here, I'm feeling much better. Now, what was it you came here to talk to me about? Seriously? Great. According to Rinny, Wells is very moody. Once he gets all pouty, won't listen to anything you have to say, which is why Rinny had been ready to call it quits for today and try again later. Thanks, he says, while ruffling my hair. Really? Then I guess my embarrassment was ultimately for a good cause. Teehee, I'm glad I helped in some way. She's so unbelievably honest and straightforward. She's a real good kid, huh? She really is. Which is why I can't take my eyes off of her for a second. Rini agrees. I can see why. His sudden compliment in such a serious tone is a little worrisome, and yet I can't complain. Although I don't know how to feel about them thinking I'm going to get into trouble. And why are they both patting my head like that? When I ask why, all they ever tell me is to stay just the way I am. Ugh, I never understand anything. Sorry about the mess. Feel free to sit wherever there's space. Oh, and care for some tea? After a bit of back and forth, Wells invites us into his store to listen to what we have to say. While he did tell us to sit wherever we pleased, I can't seem to find a chair without at least one broken leg and that isn't covered in a blanket of dust. Wells, would you mind if I tidied the room up a bit? Hmm? You want to clean? I'm not going to turn you down, but it might take a while. Thanks, I'll just take a sec. Light magic, cleanse. Although all I'm doing is cleaning up the place, I still need to get permission first. I just couldn't stand one more second in this dust covered room, and so before the words had even left his lips, I was already conjuring up my light magic. My tail attracts dust like no other. Oh, how neat. She cleaned the guild hall in the same way, Rainey says. She's amazing. In a blink of an eye, the room is clean and tidy, and the two men are drowning me in praise. I'm sure lots of people can do much better than me, I say, embarrassed. There are not that many folks nowadays who can wield light magic, and even less use it for cleaning, Wells replies. You really are one of a kind. I'm well aware that there are far less light magic users than any other elemental, and he's right about the cleaning. The only reason I do it is because Claire brought up the idea. I still don't think it's exactly praiseworthy. It made me smile to see Claire act so embarrassed the other day when everyone thanked her for her cooking, but now that it's happening to me, I just feel weird. I never know what to say in response. You've got a very delicate touch when it comes to wielding your magic, too. That takes a lot of training and skill. You should be more confident in yourself, Miku. Rinny's praise only makes my face redder. Sheesh, will I ever stop blushing today? We didn't come out here just to talk about me, right? Let's change the subject. I try to get his back on track while riding a chair that had toppled over. It's a little bit wobbly, but it should work. After making sure it can hold my weight, I carefully sit down. Wells watches me, chuckling softly, before speaking up. I already have a good idea of what you're about to say. Rini doesn't usually wander around with lovely ladies in tow, especially ladies who happen to also be members of the Lana Killer Guild. Huh? He really figured it out? I knew this guy was no ordinary blacksmith. He gives an air of nonchalance, but his mind is constantly spinning, picking up on every word in action, no matter how minute. You're pretty quick. In that case, let's get down to business. Rini doesn't seem particularly bothered by his words, but he knows him well. Grinning as he folds his hands behind his head, he seems to be in a pretty good mood. Please let this work out and make Wells join us. We've been considering climbing up the ranks as a guild, Rini says, getting straight to the point. I see. And you need more members, right? Right. Of course, Lana Killer is pretty selective in its membership. Wells nods to show he's listening as he flips a new cigarette out from a pack, using the tip of his finger to light it before taking a deep puff. He holds the smoke in his lungs before letting it out slowly. As he does, I can tell he's thinking about something, his gaze is distant. Who else did you invite? He asks after a long moment of silence. Rini answers his question readily. Aside from Claire and me, Wells seems to know everyone else by name. Very sensible list. So that just leaves me and Marino to get your 10, huh? Yep. You can build a new workshop on the guild property, or you can stay here. You'll be free to carry on, business as usual. We just need you on the roster, and of course, the prestige of your name itself. In return, further recognition and a stable income, huh? Doesn't seem like a bad deal to me. Seems to be going well. He takes another puff from his cigarette as if mulling it over. There seems to be something that's bothering him. I need some time to think it over. There's something I need to confirm first. That's fine, but when do you think you'll have an answer? Needs to check something. I was right. There is something bothering him. I don't want to pry. Meanwhile, Rainy's good spirits have vanished, replaced by an annoyed scowl. He seems concerned, but when he'll come up with an answer. Seeing Rainy's reaction, Wells laughs, reassuring him that he won't wait long. I'll stop by the guild hall tomorrow night. I'll have an answer for you then. That soon, huh? That works for me. It better be good news. Tomorrow evening, maybe we can host another big dinner again. I should warn Claire ahead of time. I really hope he has a good answer for us. He doesn't seem put off by the idea, so maybe that's a good sign. Yeah, we'll see you then, Will says, getting up and walking away from us. We'll finish up this conversation then, Rennie says. That's right. He has a shop to run. If we stay here any longer, we'll get in the way. See you tomorrow, Wells, I say. As I scramble out of my seat and head out of the store, he calls out to me with a sly grin on his lips. Yep, it was a pleasure to meet you, little novice. Who is he calling a novice? I can't believe he had to get one last parting shot as we're leaving. He better call me by name the next time we meet. Let's go back home, Rennie says. I wonder if those guys are still asleep. Good question, I say. Hector's probably awake, but Macro and Kiefer might still be out cold. At least that's the feeling I get. Haha, you're probably right. It's almost impossible to get Macro out of bed on his days off. And it's pretty rare to see Kiefer up and about during the day if he's not working on something. We start heading back the way we came. Although we left the guild pretty early in the morning, it's still not yet afternoon. However, with the sun a little higher in the sky, there were far more people milling about. Do you really think Wells will join us? I muttered the thought to myself as we get back to the main road. I have a good feeling about it, but a part of me is worried too. Hearing my quiet mumbling, Rennie grunts noncommittedly. He'll probably take the deal, but it all depends on the so-called thing he needs to check. Do you have any idea what that might be? What does he have to check? I'm still really interested to know what he couldn't give us an answer right away. I glance up at Rennie, who folds his hands behind his head. He's probably gonna go talk to Marino, the last name on our list. Marino, the last name of the potential members, and the only one I still haven't met yet. I assume they're another acquaintance, but know nothing other than that. Marino's his partner, which means they're a twofer. Rennie quickly continues, seeing my look of clear confusion. You can't have one without the other. Partners? Like boyfriend and girlfriend? He mentions it in such an offhand and matter-of-fact way, I can't help but shocked by something so unexpected. I'd have never seen that coming. I'd have never spent time around a young couple in love before. To be fair, Wells is an adult, so it's not that weird to be in a relationship. It explains why he seems so used to being around women. You really are a novice, Miku. You're like some precious cinnamon bun, too pure for this world. Stop teasing me. But no matter what I do, I can't keep my cheeks from blazing. You just caught me off guard. That's all. Stop staring at me. All right. For chapter 8, I'm going to take a quick break, get some more tea, and we'll move on. Hey everyone, we're back to chapter 8 for more surviving in another world as a villainous fox girl. Chapter 8 is ranking up the Lana Killer Guild. We're home! The entire way back to the guild, I kept fanning my face in a desperate attempt to make my cheeks less noticeably red. It helped a little. Rennie threw open the door to the living room, loudly announcing our arrival, before immediately flopping in the couch, ready to relax. He really does whatever he wants, whenever the mood strikes him. Welcome back, Miku. How was it? Did anything weird happen? Claire immediately rushes over to me before throwing her arms around me. I can not sure why she's so worried. I hug Claire back, who has an almost death grip hold on me. Hector comes running over, equally frazzled. You went to see the Wells all by yourselves? What were you thinking? Did he say anything weird to you? That creep flirts with any woman he lays eyes on. It's a joke to him, but he's got so much dang sex appeal, he's constantly getting himself in trouble with women who get the wrong idea. Huh? Really? While he did have a refined charm to him, I have no idea about the rest of that. I wonder if Claire knows what Hector's talking about. The thought crosses my mind if she had known, she definitely wouldn't have let me go by myself. I turned to Claire. Oh, it looks like she just remembered. Her mouth suddenly drops open as the color drains from her face. Wait, she knew all along? She just forgot? Claire, the girl who worries about every single possible scenario, forgot something? Ugh, I forgot that Wells is one of the most popular characters? She mutters angrily to herself. Popular characters? What does that even mean? But more importantly, what happened? Did he hit on you? Did he say anything weird? Still completely confused, I watch as Claire snaps back to her usual self with a vengeance. Eat! She grabs the fabric of my shirt in both hands, almost shouting in my face. Calm down. Nothing went wrong. All that happened is we discovered Miku's more of a precious, innocent cinnamon bun than I ever realized. Rini, who's still sprawled on the couch, casually interrupts the fuss happening in the entrance to the living room. Hey, Rini, I rolled toward him. I thought I told you to stop saying stuff like that. All the heat that finally left my cheeks came as back with a vengeance. Why are you so embarrassed and flushed? Don't tell me Wells sank his poisonous fangs into you, Hector cries. Why did they look so scary? Before I can even process what's happening, both Hector and Claire close the distance between us and bombard me with questions. Ack, Eep, wait, calm down already. What's gotten into you two? They interrogate me until I tell them, in detail, what happened at Wells' place and what we talked about. It's like they've been possessed. I kind of understand why Claire's so worried, but there's no way I'd fall for a man who's that much older than I am. And besides, he has a good girlfriend, so there's nothing to worry about on that front, I say. Hector and Claire respond at the same time, shouting, You're too naive. They finally let me go, and I slump onto an empty spot on the couch next to Candace, who watched the whole thing in dumbfounded shock. She immediately begins comforting me for my exhausted ordeal. The two of them are both very similar. Candace says, I can tell. They're both overprotective. She's too sweet. So far, my morning's been one heart-pounding shock after another, and it's not even noon yet. Anyway, will things work out like this? Candace asks. If Wells and Marino don't join us, we'll have to look for two more people, right? I'm worried. I almost forgot until she mentioned it. That wasn't even the most important part of it all. I'll fill Macro and Kiefer in on what happened after they wake up, but for now, I need to hear Hector's opinion since he's the official guild leader. There's nothing to worry about on that front. I already talked to Marino about it. Huh? What? Why am I only hearing this now? Claire, Candace, and even Rinny crowd in surprise. The others make sense, but how is even Rinny clueless? I can't believe you talked to her without telling us, Hector. There was absolutely no point in going to see Wells then. Sorry about that. I didn't hear back from Marino until last night, right before bed. Besides, still been planning on talking to Wells directly, so it wasn't a complete waste. It seems as if Hector found a letter waiting for him on his windowsill when we went up to his room last night. Marino has a magic ability that lets her send letters. If her response came last night, it makes sense Hector wouldn't have had time to say anything until now. At any rate, that means we've got the members we need to rank up, right? I hesitantly ask, only to be met by an equally vague answer, lacking any sort of excitement. Now that we've mentioned it, I guess we do, Hector says. What's wrong? Shouldn't we be celebrating? I thought this was our goal. It just doesn't seem real. That makes sense. Maybe he'll be more excited about once his application is officially approved. To be fair, it doesn't seem to be real to me either. It was honestly a lot easier than we thought it'd be, when he says, we should throw a proper celebration once the paperwork goes through and we're officially recognized as a high-tier guild. That sounds right, Candace cheers. You actually think up decent stuff every once in a while, don't you, Rainey? Let's do it. I'm so excited. Let's have the party here, Claire chimes in. It'll be easier than inconveniencing one of the local pubs or taverns. All right, time to roll my sleeves up and put together another amazing feast. As everyone excitedly talks about plans for our party, I feel my own excitement steadily growing. I'm so happy we did it! I can't wait, I exclaim. The real work starts from here, which is why we should take time now to celebrate. I can't wait to tell Macro, Kiefer, and Angela. I feel like I'm towing the line before a big race. My heart's beating loudly with excitement. It's a bit comforting feeling, far different from the heart-pounding excitement all morning. I can't wait to see what tomorrow brings. Is everyone ready? Hector asks. You didn't forget anything, Hector? Macro questions him. I triple-checked everything, plus I had Claire and Angela check the paperwork for themselves. So did you, Macro. Day's finally here, and it's bright and sunny to boot. That's right. Day, the mid-tier guild, Planet Killer, finally ranks up. The six of us, Hector, Macro, Rini, Angela, Claire, and myself, are lined up outside the League of Guilds main building, mentally preparing to head inside. Today's the day. Ugh, I'm so nervous. It's too bad we couldn't have everyone here, I say quietly, and Angela chuckles in response. That's how it goes sometimes. Once a group gets big enough, it becomes impossible getting everyone together in one spot. I know you're right, but still. Angela's bright blue ponytail swings side to side playfully as she laughs. Her posture, with her head held high, only makes her look cooler than ever. I can't help but be charmed by her mannerisms. Tonight marks out the first time we have all our guild members together in one room. We gotta hustle to get ready for the party once we've finished here, Claire exclaims. That's right. There might be a couple of folks missing now, but we can celebrate with everyone later tonight. But before that can happen, we have to make sure the application is perfect so there are no problems. How long are we going to stand here? I'm going in, Macro snaps, breaking up our lively conversation before striding towards the building. He sighs as he leaves, shrugging us off in annoyance. He's right, though. There's no point in standing out here. Rini immediately follows him inside, shouting after him not to run off on his own. Hector goes next, meekly telling Macro and Rini to stop fighting. Claire, Angela, and I smile as our eyes meet before we follow the three guys inside. Things are never quiet with those three. Once inside, Macro and Rini immediately quiet down. Or rather, Hector forces them to be quiet. At any rate, this is an important moment. Hector approaches the reception desk with the 5 of us standing slightly behind him. He has a brief conversation with the male receptionist. Seems like your paperwork is all in order. We need to register your guild members next, so everyone gather together. Not all of our guild members are here right now, but I brought this magic stone with us that we imbued with their power beforehand. Does that work? With that, Hector reaches inside his bag and takes out a palm-sized transparent stone, holding it out to the man at the desk. It's a stone able to record information. It currently holds samples of Kiefer, Candace, Wells, and Marino's magic. Since everyone's magic is different, it's a way to prove their unique identities. Sure, this will be fine. Since we have their magic prints on file, it shouldn't take long for me to confirm their identities. Anyone who works for a guild, even without becoming an official member, must register their magic fingerprints with the League of Guilds. Since the four of them have helped Lana Killer in the past, that means they've had to register at some point. Still, I'm impressed that they can check something like that so quickly. Nothing like this exists in our small village, mainly because there aren't enough people for it to be necessary. You know you're in a proper city when you have to have something like this. Each of you will have to cast your magic into this crystal one at a time, the receptionist says. Following his directions, we each touch the crystal he holds in his hand. He tells me not to be too nervous, to simply use the stone as if using a simple magical gadget. Easier said than done. Besides, I'm still not used to using gadgets. A part of me is glad I was able to try out some magic tools since joining Lana Killer, but I'm still pretty flustered. Once Claire is done, I channel my magic into the crystal when suddenly the receptionist lets out a surprised cry and grabs me by the shoulders, shaking me. Huh? This can't be! Did I mess up somehow? I didn't mean to. Isn't my magic the same as everyone else's? What should I do? I stand there in shock. The man almost immediately steps out of it, apologizing profusely. Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. I've just never seen that color before. I always get in trouble for letting my emotions get the best of me. Gosh, I don't know what came over me. There's no problem at all, so please don't worry. How can I not be worried based on such an overreaction? He says it's not a problem, but it seems like a huge problem. My body's trembling all over, tears threatening to spill from my eyes, when I'm suddenly surprised by a low voice coming from just behind me. At the same time, I feel a large hand on my shoulder, only further ramping up my anxiety. Hey, yeah, you. Didn't your parents teach you any manners? I won't stand by while you scare my sweet Miku half to death. I tentatively look over my left shoulder to see Hector, a princely smile on his face. His terrifyingly calm voice doesn't match his expression at all, and the intensity of his stare is terrifying. I want to know what caused the receptionist to react the way he did, but I'm not that angry about it. Just as the thought crosses my mind, feeling more anxious than ever, I'm startled by a loud thwop of someone's hand slapping the receptionist's desk, and my head instinctively whips to the right. It's just one surprise after another. Are you for real? Don't you know anything about personal space? You're a real failure as a receptionist if you can't keep a professional attitude at work. I want to speak to your manager. You're going to pay for upsetting my sweet little sister. This time, it's Claire who's terrifyingly angry. There's no way I can get a word in edgewise. I freeze, feeling trapped between two furious hotheads. Honestly, they're scarier than the receptionist, but I can't tell them that. All I want right now is for someone to calm them down. I'm terribly sorry about all of this. The poor receptionist grovels in the face of their overpowering rage. Unsure of what to do, I suddenly feel a gentle hand on my shoulder, pulling me back. It's Angela. Thanks for helping me out, Angela. Hector and Claire are still standing in front of the poor receptionist, lecturing him on his manners and unprofessional attitude with huge smiles plastered on their faces. My condolences, but at least I'm free from that awkward situation. Thanks, Angela. Hector is usually pretty laid back, but woe at anyone who makes him mad. I'm kind of surprised to see Claire is the same way, Angela remarks. They really are like a lot of ways. I still don't understand why they're so angry, though. He didn't do anything to deserve it, I say while watching the two reprimanding the receptionist. Rini and Macro react to my comment with wide eyes. I seem to be the only one who doesn't understand what's going on. He accidentally leaked private information about you. His behavior and reaction were both completely unacceptable for a position that requires a high level of confidentiality. That's why they're so angry. Macro tries to explain what happened, but it still doesn't make any sense to me. My personal information? What do you mean? I don't remember anything like that. I tilt my head to one side. From what I remember, he asked me to channel my magic into the crystal, and when it did, it reacted oddly. Speaking of which, what does that even mean? Did it react differently to my magic? Macro's eyes only got wider as he sees my total lack of incomprehension. Look of surprise, so different from his usual bored and slightly scared expression, is honestly kind of cute, although I'd never tell him that. Don't tell me you don't know, he asks. I honestly don't know of anything right now. I'm getting more and more confused by the second. Macro, Rini, and Angela seem just as baffled, crossing their arms, worry painted on their faces. I don't understand. I'm sorry, Miku, but this is something I can't tell you without getting permission from your sister first. If you really want to know, you should talk to Claire later. Angela speaks up for the three of them, sounding apologetic. I don't want to force them to tell me what's going on, but their unexpectedly serious expressions are making me more worried than ever. Is it really that important? I ask, concern lacing my voice. That's right. It concerns your very life, Miku. I had a feeling about it, as I'm sure Rini and Macro did too. It was probably too touchy of a subject for your parents or sister to feel comfortable bringing up. Rini adds, I understand how they feel. I'm growing more and more concerned by the second. What's going on? Something about my life. As my heart pounds faster and faster, the blood rushes to my head. Huh? My hands are shaking. Just then, I feel the soft touch of a warm hand pressing against my back. Stop stressing her out, you two. Miku, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. There's no way those two over there will ever let anything bad happen to you. It's Macro's hand. The warmth from his hand as he rubs my back is slowly as calming, and I heave a huge sigh of relief. Oops, I hadn't realized I was holding my breath. You're okay. Macro. I look into his face, but he's purposefully looking away, although I can feel a gentleness in his touch. Sorry, Miku. Rini apologizes awkwardly. Me too. I wasn't thinking. Angela follows suit. It's fine. Don't worry. I really appreciate it. Really. I wave off their frantic apologies. I know they're just worried about me. Thank you, Macro. I'm better now. I thank Macro once more, but he still refuses to meet my eyes with his own. I can see a faint red glow in his cheeks. He's probably embarrassed. He's so much nicer than he appears to be. He immediately steps away from me, and I feel sad when his hand slips from my back, although the warmth lingers in my heart. I'm truly grateful for his comfort, feeling much better than a moment ago. With that said and done, it's time to get those two off the poor receptionist's back. I walk over to the two of them, still engrossed in scolding the receptionist, and put a hand on both of their shoulders. Claire, Hector, come on. That's enough. Miku! But, on hearing my voice, Claire turns toward me, clearly frustrated, and I can tell her anger isn't close to subsiding. Hector, who I interrupted mid sentence, also turns to me troubled. Two are making a scene, I tell them. Plus, he's already apologized. I'm sure he'll be more careful from now on, right? Yes, absolutely. The receptionist responds at once. See, so let him do his job. Don't let him ruin our exciting day, okay? Okay. We're supposed to be celebrating today, not being angry. I'm already over it, having accepted his apology. Ugh. Well, if Miku says it's fine, then we'll leave it at that. You're lucky she's so kind, Claire exclaims, wriggling her finger in his face. That's right. She's an angel. Just make sure this doesn't happen again. Got it? Whew. Seems like I've managed to calm them down. Claire's fur, which was puffed up in anger, is returning to normal. Good. Good. Miku, is it? The receptionist addresses me. I'm really sorry about what happened. I will never forget the kindness you showed me today. I'll make sure that mistake, I'll never make that mistake again. I really think he's apologized enough. I don't need to be so serious about it still. Don't worry about it anymore, I answer with a smile, which the receptionist returns almost bashfully. Everyone looks better with a smile instead of a frown. That guy's definitely crushing on Miku, Hector says in a low voice. Without a doubt. Honestly, I can't let my guard down for a second. Not that you did anything wrong, Miku. Your naivety just seems to naturally attract people trying to take advantage of you. We finish filling out the rest of their paperwork without incident. Hector and Claire immediately began chattering away as soon as we step outside. Crushing on me? That guy? There's no way. You can't fall in love with someone that quickly. They're really reading too much into this. Still, I'm glad you two seem to be getting along better, I say with a smile. They're basically two peas in a pod. At first, I thought they were completely incompatible since they are both so quick to anger, but it turns out that their similarities actually bring them closer together. That's not true at all. There's no way I'd ever get along with a guy like him, Claire shouts, pointing at Hector's face. He's got this look on his face that makes it seem like he's always up to something. She's right, Miku. Wait, Claire? Is that really how you see me? That hurts, you know. Both of them denied it outright. Don't you know, think you went a little too Claire with that comment, Claire, I point out. Upon hearing us, Rini and Angela double over with laughter. Even Macro's shoulders are shaking from the force of his guffaws. So, this is how you all feel about me, huh? I'll never forget this. Ever. Seeing this, their reactions, Hector crosses his arms, clearly annoyed. Aw, no wonder he's sulking. Still, there's no denying the friendship between them all. At the end of the day, I know he'll happily forgive his friends. The bond between them is one of warmth. I want to be part of it too. I'll try teasing him just like everyone else is doing. Let's see. Hector definitely is a little weird sometimes, but that just makes him cooler. Oh no, I said something weird. I hesitantly look at him, worried he might be angry, but instead he seems frozen in place, his cheeks bright red. Huh, I wasn't expecting that type of reaction. My ears and tail suddenly stick straight up in surprise. I'm sorry, Hector. I didn't really mean it. Did I hurt your feelings? I hurriedly try to apologize, but receive no response from Hector. I glance over at Claire desperately, wanting her to save me from the situation, and her words catch me off guard. Oh gosh, Miku, were you trying to tease him? That was so cute. You're such a good kid. Huh? A good kid? This is not how I expected this conversation to go. She was trying to insult him? Or wasn't that a major compliment? Definitely a compliment. Both Rini and Mako are surprised. They're agreeing with each other. Huh? So I was complimenting him instead of teasing him? Well, that's a relief. I'm not used to any of this, so I was worried. Was that the best insult you could come up with, Miku? Further proof that you're too pure for this world. Angela nods along with the others. Ugh, I can't believe you're saying it too, Angela. Look, I'm just glad I didn't make him feel bad. Angela seems honestly impressed. I don't think I did anything particularly admirable. I'm still confused, but I guess it's a compliment by the smile on her face, so I accept it. Meanwhile, I'm more concerned for Hector, who's still standing in the same place, his face redder than ever. Should I apologize once things have calmed down again? For now, it's time to go shopping for tonight's party. We ended up splitting up after that. Hector and Macro had some other matters to deal with, and Angela had work to do. That leaves the food shopping to Claire and me, plus Rennie. Are you sure you don't need to go with Hector and Macro? I asked Rennie. I'd much rather carry your bags than deal with stiff formalities, he says. To be honest, I'm glad for your help because we're going to end up with a lot of heavy stuff. Leave the heavy lifting to me. Besides, if I go with you, that means I can pick out some stuff I like too. Haha, you're so sly, Rennie. Claire laughs. I'm down with that. Feel free to tell us what you like to eat. Rennie feels overjoyed by Claire's response, which is pretty cute. Claire is equally excited for the party, so I know whatever she makes will be amazing. I'm pretty nervous, but also excited to meet Marino for the first time too, I say. What's she like? Although she had agreed to join the guild, I still haven't had a chance to meet her. Plus, Claire hasn't met Wells in person either. Because of her game knowledge, Claire knows all about them already. Still, we can't rely on her memories too much considering the gaps I've noticed between what she says, and how other people actually are. Like Hector, who might be a reborn as well, and Candace, clearly has her eyes set on a different partner than the person Claire said she ends up with. In short, we need to take all of Claire's knowledge of this so-called game with a grain of salt. Plus, if she gets too caught up in trying to follow the story, she'll end up worrying herself sick. I don't want that to happen to Claire. Marino's, a little strange, Rennie says vaguely. There seems to be no shortage of weirdos among us, Claire sighs. Haha, so true. As far as weirdos go, I'd rank her higher than Kiefer. Stranger than Kiefer? Now I'm getting nervous all over again, but in a different way than before. As we shop for food, Renee explains how Marina's a lady with expensive taste who likes to dress up. She apparently has a very unique style, making me more excited than ever to meet her. Renee goes on to say that both she and Wells don't act like a traditional couple, which I don't understand. What does that mean? Remember what happened with Wells? Rennie asks me. He's a big flirt, right? He flirts with anything that wears a skirt. Most people would get jealous over that kind of stuff, but not Marino. Honestly, she doesn't seem to care. She's more amused by it than anything. She even asks him to regale her with stories of his exploits. She's a very strange lady, that's for sure. And yet, they still consider themselves to be a couple. It's very different from how I imagined two people in love might act. I assume most people are like Candace, gets easily annoyed when they see the love of their life paying attention to anyone else. It's hard for me to imagine an open relationship like the one between Wells and Marino. There are all different types of relationships in the world, Claire says. Love takes many forms. You know, this relationship works out for them. Honestly, it's no one's business but theirs. Oh, is that how you think too, Claire? I'm of the same opinion. I have a feeling Candace wouldn't agree with us, though. Candace has more starry-eyed romantic views on love. I see. The most important thing is that both people are on board. I'm impressed that they were able to find someone else with the same viewpoint. I think their relationship is admirable. For now, I'll simply observe them silently from afar and see what their relationship is like. Maybe I can learn something from them. You talk like you know all about it. Don't tell me you've been in love, Claire. My thoughts are disrupted by Rennie, who's grinning at Claire, teasing her. Love? Claire's been fallen in love with someone else? For some reason, I can feel my heart start beating in my chest as my cheeks turn red. Claire's warned me repeatedly not to fall in love, and yet here she is, ignoring her own words of caution. Well, perhaps it's fine if she has a boyfriend. Maybe it's only me who's at risk of falling in love with someone. Still, I can't even begin to imagine it. Wow. Huh? How am I supposed to take that reaction? Stop giving me that look of disgust, Claire. Rini complains. It seems like I'm the only one whose heart is fluttering. Claire's glaring at Rini, clearly disgusted. Huh? Wait, what? I'm so confused and yet so curious at the same time. I never thought I'd hear that line from the story coming from your mouth, and especially not at a time like this. She mutters angrily under her breath, but I'm close enough to hear. Oh, I get it. Rini must say those exact words to her in the story. I remember hearing something about Rini's root from Claire in the past. Rini says something super insensitive to Claire, causing her cheeks to glow red with embarrassment and anger. I only heard the story via Claire, but from what I remember, it was those exact words. The story is slightly different, and yet the words are somehow the same. I didn't realize that was possible. Not like Claire's in love with Rini in real life, though. Maybe that's why she reacted the way she did. All you ever do is mutter weird, incomprehensible things to yourself. What story are you talking about? You never make any sense. You heard me? Ugh, your hearing is too good, Claire groans. Well, it doesn't matter either way. At any rate, no, I've never been in love. That's just my objective opinion based on stuff I've heard. Rini really does have amazing hearing, but apparently he only picks up on bits and pieces of what she says. It's difficult to understand based on a word or two here or there. Rini, who's quickly grown bored with the topic, ends the conversation with a disinterested, mm-hmm. You really are just like Hector, Claire, he says. Hector mumbles about weird stuff all the time, too. He does? Claire seems interested in Rini's seemingly offhand remark. That's right. There's still a chance Hector is a reborn. He probably ends up talking to himself about the story from the other world, just like Claire does. What sort of things does he say? She asks, leaning closer to Rini. You're actually interested? I never know what he's talking about, so I really can't tell you much more than he often mutters under his breath, sometimes like you do. I see. He might not have heard exactly what Hector says, or it's possible he does know but is choosing to keep a secret, just like we do. Rini seems confused by Claire's obvious disappointment. Do you know something I don't know about him? There must be a reason why you're so curious. His tone changes from playful to serious as he peers into Claire's face questioningly. He's surprisingly perceptive, ignoring the details and zoning in on what she really wanted to know. There's not much I can do to help. I just wait for Claire's answer anxiously. No real reason at all. I just hate being lumped in with pretty boy jerks like him. We're nothing alike, and saying we are is an insult, Claire says bluntly, looking completely unfazed. You really just enjoy picking on Hector, don't you? Rini replies, seemingly satisfied with her response. That's Claire for you. She got through that easy. What a relief. I think I might have been the most worried. My heart was beating out of my chest. Whew, we made it. Should I put everything in the kitchen, Claire? Yes, please. I'll take care of it from there. We finally returned to the guild at just past noon, bags packed full of goodies. It took us longer than I expected to get everything, plus we stopped for a bite to eat at one of the local bakeries. Rainey also bought some meat for lunch. He really loves meat, and we bought so much stuff. I was impressed by how easily Rainey lugged everything around, and equally impressed by how much food Claire bought. The shop owners, and even Rainey himself, were blown away by the sheer amount of stuff Claire shoved in her basket. After helping put everything away, Rainey stepped out for an errand of his own. He just got home and he's already off again. Maybe he had plans already. If that's the case, I feel bad for making him go shopping with us. Thank you so much for carrying everything, Rini. I silently thank him as he heads off. We better get to work. Will you help me, Miku? Of course, Claire. Turning to the kitchen, roll up our sleeves for a long afternoon of prep for tonight's party. I diligently wash the vegetables and chop them up for a salad, following Claire's directions exactly. When it comes to cooking, it's best to do everything she says. I've learned from experience how quickly things can go wrong when I do things my own way. I always end up creating more work for myself. Hey, Claire, remember earlier today when you and Hector got really mad at that guy in the guild office? What was that about? Everyone told me you were angry because he leaked personal information about me that should be kept confidential. I scrounge up the courage to ask Claire a question that's been bothering me all day, breaking the silence as we work. This seemed like the perfect time to bring it up as we're alone. Her hands freeze at my question before she continues, silently concentrating on the task at hand. I keep talking. Seemed like everyone understood what happened but me. I want to know too, Claire. It's about me, right? Please, will you tell me? I look over at Claire, refusing to drop my gaze. After a moment, she mutters, "Ugh," under her breath before heaving a huge sigh and turning to face me. She looks worried or possibly exasperated. I can't keep quiet when you say it quite like that, but I can tell you're curious, and I feel like you're old enough to be able to handle it. And with that, she gives me a smile of resignation. What does she mean I'm old enough now? We're both the same age. Does she feel older because of her memories from the other world? She is pretty mature for our age, so I guess I can accept that. But, she says a lot louder, try not to be too shocked, okay? Don't forget, I'll always be here to protect you. Okay, I promise I won't be surprised by anything you say. I'm ready. I've heard so many fantastical tales from Claire that I feel as if anything, nothing could surprise me now. I watch Claire silently, squeezing my hands in front of my chest. Please ignore how puffed up my tail is from nervousness, Claire. You know the elemental magic you control is light, right? She begins. And you know how most other people can control more than one element? Yeah, I know. I'm always so jealous that I only have one. I'm actually never met anyone else like me. I hate to admit that I'm jealous, but those feelings have grown in me over time. Claire told me something once that cheered me up. I remember those words to this day. You're one of the beloveds. Her, in other words, it's a mark of how much the goddess of light cherishes you. She would be so jealous if you used any other type of magic. Whenever I remember what she said, it fills me with joy for being favored by the goddess of light. It fills me with confidence, and it's all thanks to Claire that I can think like that. Well, there are others in the world like you, Miku, she continues, other beloveds of the gods and goddesses. Others who possess magic abilities far greater than those who know more than one type of magic. I told you when we were much younger, right? The goddess of light loves you more than anyone else. Yes, I was just thinking about that. She smiles almost sadly in response, and yet there's a kindness shining in her eyes. I can tell she's about to tell me something very important. I nod silently, waiting for Claire to continue. A love that strong is based on jealousy. I teased you about it when we were kids, but it's true. In other words, while it's a blessing, it's also a curse. A curse? That sounds scary. I ran. I can tell that word holds a darker meaning behind it. That's why she tried to play it off when we were younger. She didn't want to scare me. And in turn, I was less anxious thanks to her kindness. For example, if I was blessed by the god of if I was blessed by the god of fire, I'd have a curse as well. The curse of passion. They're often slaves to their emotions, and when their emotions run high, they can accidentally set themselves and their surroundings on fire. I've heard those with this specific curse always tend to have water, warding, and healing amulets on them at all times just in case. Imagine being born with the power to control fire. and then allowing your emotions to run so wild, you burn yourself. Bless me. And then you burn yourself with your own power. How scary. I guess that's why people who control fire are taught from an early age to clear their mind and the importance of always remaining calm. I see. That's why it's a curse, because of the danger to themselves. Then, what's my specific curse? I'm frightened, but I need to know. My heart pounds anxiously in my chest as I wait, and before long, she opens her mouth, her voice quiet. The curse of light is devotion. If you fall in love with someone and they don't feel the same, you'll die of a literal broken heart. Chapter 9. To hell with the story. I'll take my break right now, like previously, bathroom and more tea. All right, we are back with surviving in another world as a villainous fox girl. We are on chapter 9 out of 10 of this light novel, translated from Japanese, and we're ready to go. I think we're going to get to the end to chapter 10 of the first of two light novels tonight. Chapter 9. To hell with the story. If I fall in love with someone and they don't feel the same, I'll die. In other words, I'll die from a broken heart if I find myself in a one-sided relationship. So that's why it's so important for me not to fall in love with someone, I mutter. It seems like a lot of people are aware of this curse that all beloveds, or those who can only wield one type of magic, are burdened with. It's a sensitive issue, which is why we must be, which must be why, even though people know about it, most people understand not to pry into the specifics of the curse, as it's considered rude to do so. It makes sense. It's not something I'd feel comfortable talking with, unless it was an emergency or I was talking with a close friend. That's why Claire and Hector got so mad when the receptionist let that info slip a bit, completely unbefitting of his position. Miku, life is at stake here, Claire says gravely. I know I can be a real pain sometimes, but it's because you were born with this curse. Since you can only fall in love with one person, you have to think about it carefully. And teenagers aren't known for thinking about anything carefully. I get it. My first love will decide my fate. If I fall head over heels for the first cute guy I see, I'll be cursed to love them for the rest of my life. Not like I would know, since I've never been in love before. Game Miku instantly fell in love with Hector the first time she met him. That love continued on for the rest of her life. But you're just so kind, Miku, that when the heroine eventually showed herself up, you immediately kept your feelings to yourself because you became friends. Hector's not always the most observant guy, and in his storyline, he ultimately chooses the heroine over you. As the heroine, that's not so horrible, but seeing you get tossed to the side is too awful. I can't tell you how many times I've cursed him out for getting so little too carried away, being the main hero and all. It's horrible, Claire. Don't curse the real Hector because you're mad at Game Hector, though. As soon as Claire starts talking about the game, she gets overexcited and ends up talking way too fast. It's like she forgets where she is. It seems very possible that we're in the world that made up the game she played, but considering all the differences we've noticed between what she knows and what's happening for real, I don't think that it's a good idea to treat everyone based on the character she thinks she knows. At any rate, she huffs, I won't stand by and watch you die. And I absolutely won't let you fall in love on my watch. Since the route is decided by the heroine, I have no idea what will happen next or who her partner will be, but thinking about you falling in love with anyone at this point makes me anxious. Now I understand why Claire's always so overprotective of me. I feel like she's been worrying more than usual recently, but knowing the reason why makes me feel a lot better. It doesn't bother me that she cares about me that much, but rather, I worry that maybe she's a little too caught up in my problems. With me going out into the city and meeting so many new folks, it seems to have triggered Claire's anxiety, bringing it to new heights. Although I understand why she's like this now, that doesn't make it any healthier. But Claire, knowing I have no plans of falling in love with anyone, and that I've never even felt love before, just hear me out. What if, in the far future, I do fall in love with someone? What then? To be honest, I'm pretty worried about it myself. I can make promises until I'm blue in the face that I won't fall in love with anyone, but that's not how it works. There's a chance I'll fall in love with someone without even realizing it. And what then? Can I really only love one person for the rest of my life? When that happens, I'll support you with all of my heart. I'll make sure your love lasts forever. Claire's answer is far different from what I expected. I had no idea that she felt that way. I mean, all she does is ever harp on me about how I can't fall in love ever. I would prefer if you never fell in love, but they call it falling for a reason. There's not much you can do to prevent it, you know? And then it's only natural to want to be in a relationship with that person. You'd be okay with it, even if it's Hector? I say with a grin. Arrgh, I can't stand that guy's guts. But if you truly loved him, then I would support you. That's how much you mean to me, she declares. Although, I don't trust that guy further than I can throw him, considering how easily he's swayed by the heroine's charm, she mutters under her breath, furrowing her brow. She looks so funny, I just can't help but laugh even after a serious conversation. Teep. All right, got my tea. Nice, nice. Jasmine tea, by the way. I have a bunch of it over there. Hmm. You're so silly, Claire, but okay. If I ever fall in love, I promise to tell you right away. That would make me feel a whole lot better. With Claire by my side, I always feel like I can tackle anything. All my fears and worries vanish. She always scolds me for being so airheaded in the first place, but I can't help who I am. But that means you have to tell me when you fall in love too, okay, Claire? Huh? Me? That's never going to happen. Ever. I know this is real life, but I just can't seem to separate the people around us from their in game characters, she says, laughing. I'm not sure if she can make that promise and keep it. People fall in love all the time without meaning to. You might fall in love with someone who wasn't a character in the game, I say. Plus, what happens when the game ends and the real life continues? So, please promise me, if you ever fall in love, you'll tell me. Fine. You're really that worried about me? Of course. Just like you're always worried about me. I press the issue until Claire finally gives in and promises. Claire is so protective and perceptive of others, but she treats herself like trash. As we return to the task at hand, I know I'm going to have to keep a closer eye from now on her from now on. It's finally time to celebrate Lana Killer becoming a high tier guild. Claire and I have been hard at work since we arrived at home in the early afternoon, and our efforts have paid off. While Claire was busy doing the actual cooking, I took care of decorating the rooms, tidying up, and setting the table. I made sure to pick the best flowers and the nicest tablecloth I could find. Hello, everyone. Wow, the decorations are gorgeous. Did you do this, Miku? Everything looks so nice. It smells amazing. I'm so hungry. No sooner had I sat down to start waiting for guests to arrive than who should turn up first but Kiefer and Candace. I'm honestly surprised. Yeah, Claire was in charge of the food and I did everything else. I'm glad you like it. Honestly, I never thought the two would be the ones here. That's only because I dragged him here. Hee hee. Yep, haha, you were so loud and annoying. I walked faster just to keep away from your irritating voice. It's easy enough for me to imagine how excited she probably was about the party since the moment she woke up. Where's Hector? Candace asks. I miss him so much. He had to take care of something with Macro after we submitted the paperwork for the guild, Claire explains. He said they'd be back before it gets dark, so I'm sure they'll be here soon. Candace's cat ears, which had been flicking this way in act, suddenly droop upon hearing Claire's words. She's got such a huge crush on him. You look so cute, Candace, I ask her. Did you get all dressed up for the party? You noticed! I did. This is my favorite dress. Doesn't it look great on me? She just looked so sad that I had to say something, and she immediately snapped back to her formerly cheerful self. She twirls in place, her frilly skirt fluttering around her. The way her skirt seems to float like a cloud along with her fluffy, bright orange pigtails only makes her look cuter. It took forever to help her get ready, which meant I had less time to get her work done. Kiefer grumbles. Maybe if you were more helpful, it wouldn't have taken so long, Candace snaps at him. I guess girls just see the world differently. I'm starting to love having Miku around. I have a feeling we'll be dealing with Kiefer, who already looks bored, and Candace, whose cheeks are puffed out in anger for the rest of the evening. Although a part of me realizes they only fight like this because of how close they are. They act like they can't stand each other, but if that were the case, they wouldn't live together, let alone be in the same room. I'm back. Wow, you guys showed up early. I didn't think anyone would be here yet. Hector! Hold on, stop clinging to me. Just then, Macro and Hector show up, followed shortly after by Rini. I mean, didn't Hector already show up? Okay. Candace, so it was narrating that event that happened a few sentences earlier. Candace immediately throws herself into Hector's arms as soon as she catches sight of him. Macro and Rini are arguing about something like always. I have no idea what they're fighting about, but I'm sure it's not important. Break it up, you two. The party can start now. Angela, welcome. The next person through the door is Angela, her bright blue ponytail. She has blue hair, swinging merrily behind her, carrying a bunch of bags. I immediately rush over, instinctively wanting to help her with her stuff, but oof, this is heavy. What's in this thing? She's been carrying it easily in one arm, but I can't seem to lift it with two. If this is how much her smallest bag weighs, I wonder how heavy her other bags are. Angel is so amazing. As my tail droops sadly, I hear her delighted laughter coming from somewhere above me. Haha, don't worry about it, Miku. Since I'm moving in, I decided to bring a bunch of my stuff with me. So which room is mine? I'm sorry I can't help carry more of your stuff, but I can show you to your room. There's more than enough. Thanks, Miku. I had made sure her room was tidied up and ready for whenever she felt like moving in. It's across the hall from our room, because us girls need to stick together. Plus, I wanted her to have a cozy room with plenty of natural light. I tell Claire where we were going before I led Angela upstairs. Angela climbs up the stairs easily, which is amazing to me, considering how heavy all her stuff is. It's possible she's more buff than she looks. Is it really weird that I can carry my bag so easily? She asks me, giggling. She must have caught me sneaking peeks. Ugh, sorry, I can't stop staring. I immediately apologize, but she laughs it off. I don't mind if you stare. She's so sweet. I'm actually using a wind spell to help me, so they are lighter than they appear. Oh, really? I didn't know you could use wind magic. Yep, I specialize in both wind and dark magic. Being a woman requires having a couple of tricks up my sleeve so I can keep up with the men. Confidence flows from every word she speaks. She understands her strengths and weaknesses and also knows how to make up for them. The fact that Angela knows her best attributes and can be proud of them is impressive to me. Remember what happened earlier today when we asked about Hector and Claire were ragging on the receptionist? I asked Claire, and she told me about the light curse. We arrive at her room, and as I open the door and usher her inside, I begin telling her about what I learned. Her eyes widen briefly in surprise as she sets her bags down, but all she says is a simple, I see, in response, smiling gently at me. I want to live my life proudly, just like you, Angela. I'm just a little worried about this curse, but I don't want that to stop me from doing my best and keeping my head held high. As you should. And you've already made so many new friends. With so many new experiences ahead of us, we should all try and live the best life we can. If there's ever anything I can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask, she says with a smile, not mentioning my curse at all. I'm glad I was able to be so honest with her. And please let me know if there's anything I can do. And please let me know if there's anything I can help you with too, Angela. Not like I'm all that helpful to begin with, I trail off. That's not true at all, Miku. Just having you around cheers people up and makes them feel better about everything. How? I don't do anything special. I blink up at her. You'd be surprised by how much you do for us, she says mysteriously. Is that so? Is there something good about me that I never knew about? Being helpful in any way makes me happy, although it's a little odd I can't figure out what it is. I hope someday I can see myself the way others do and have a bit more confidence in myself. Let's head back, Angela says. I nod in response before we leave the room. I feel much lighter, as if a burden has been lifted. Upon seeing us coming back down the stairs after leaving Angela's luggage in the room, Claire calls out excitedly, They're back! And just in time to meet our final guest. Our final guest is here. Time to start the party. Although there's still one person I've yet to meet. As my eyes scour the room, Hector suddenly appears, escorting two people into the living room. Wells, the laid back guy from the other day, walks into the room ahead of Hector. He smiles as he struts, in one hand, raised in a familiar gesture, promising to try and keep the teasing down to a minimum. Moments later, in walks an incredibly flashy lady. She's not as tall as Angela, but she looks that way thanks to her incredibly high heels. Her long dress, glittering in the light, clings to every curve of her body, showing it off and leaving nothing to the imagination. Her dress is so low cut that I'm worried her breasts might spill at any moment. Oh no. The slit that runs up through her skirt shows generous flashes of her thick thighs with each step, and I suddenly find myself with no idea of where to look. Why am I so nervous in front of another woman? What an adorable young lady we have here. This gorgeous lady's eyes meet mine, having noticed how flustered I am from her grand entrance. The way her wavy short black hair, black with blue streaks running through it, and her long, dangling earrings bounce with each step, is absolutely enchanting. I can't seem to look away. I can tell my cheeks are bright red. I unconsciously cling to my tail for comfort. Nice to meet you. My name's Marino. You must be Miku, right? I've heard so much about you. Now I understand why he kept referring to you as a precious cinnamon bun. The pleasure is mine. Nice to meet you. Miku, calm down. You're being too obvious, even though I understand where you're coming from. I can hear Claire frantically whispering at me to calm down, but it's impossible. I catch a whiff of Marino's perfume, which only grows stronger the closer she gets, and I immediately feel dizzy. I have never met anyone in the world with a presence as overwhelming as hers. Wow, she's too cute! Eep! Suddenly, before I know what's happening, this gorgeous woman stops in front of me and wraps her arms around me, hugging me tightly. Because of our height difference, I vaguely realize my legs are no longer touching the ground. My gosh! She's so sweet, like a little angel. On her tail and ears are so fluffy. Oh, eep, don't touch me there. Ah! She cuddles my tail and ears as she hugs me in her arms. I'm so embarrassed by what she's saying and how she's touching me, as if we've known each other all our lives, and so ticklish that I can't help yelping in surprise. Please stop. Hey, Marino, cut it out already. As I begin to panic, I feel someone pull me from Marino's embrace. But she's just too cute for words. It seems your prince has arrived. My prince? Too bad. My prince? I take stock of my current situation and realize Hector's left arm is wrapped tightly around my shoulders. Eep, I'm glad he rescued me, but this is a little too close for comfort. Wanting him to let go just a little, I hesitantly look up at Hector's face only to notice his stern, almost angry look in his eyes I've never seen before, making me gulp nervously. Come on, Marino. You know you gotta be more careful. Hector doesn't joke around, Wells warns her. Well, I'm well aware. If looks could kill, I'd be dead. Marino seems oddly amused for someone faced with such a deadly stare. Far from flustered, she seems to be teasing him. Even Wells seems a bit put off by her attitude. She really is something. Don't look at me like that, Hector, she says. I promise I'll mend my evil ways. She was just too cute for me to resist. I won't do it again. You promise? I swear. I love all of you too much. How can I be sad when there are so many cute girls for me to dote on? Besides, I wouldn't dream of doing anything to make you hate me. Hector finally relaxes at her seemingly sincere words. Ooh, it would be a shame if we worked so hard to put this party together and it was ruined because it began by some hurt feelings, which also means maybe he could finally let go of me. Hector, if you could let me go, that would be great, I quietly say. Sorry. I'm so embarrassed that he's still hugging me. It's not that I hate him, or I'm just too anxious. After calming down, everyone takes a seat around the table while Claire and I head into the kitchen to get the food. The salad and bread were already lined up on the table, but we wanted to wait to bring out the rest of the food, such as the hot soup and meats, to make sure they were still warm. I was about to reach for a tray piled high with individual bowls of soup when another pair of hands beat me to it. Looking up in surprise, I'm met by Marino's eyes and her gorgeous smile. I'm sorry about earlier. I didn't mean to startle you, she says in that silky voice of hers. Oh, it's fine. You just caught me off guard. Let me help you as a way of apology, she says with a soft smile. And with that, she walks off with the tray of soup bowls. She's so nice. Don't worry about her, Miku, Claire whispers to me as she slices the meat. She can be scary when she's angry, or once she's taken in with someone. As a friend, she's the nicest person you'll ever meet. Do you know this because of the game? I see. When it happens in real life, it's a little frightening, but I think I understand her a bit better now. She's scary when she gets angry? I guess that kind of makes sense. Generally, good-natured folks tend to be the angriest when pushed too far. Kiefer seems the same way. I experienced it myself. Claire arranges the sliced meat on another tray, which I carry to the table. I put it down carefully in front of Candace, and she immediately latches onto me. Huh? What's wrong? You're so mean, Miku. Letting Hector hug you like that. She's glaring at me, her cheeks puffed out with anger. My heart's ready to burst with how cute she is. I gently pat her cheek. Don't worry about it. He was just rescuing me. He's very reliable, you know. I can tell you really like him a lot. Ugh, it's true. I can't seem to stay angry at you. You're such a sweet girl, I repeat over and over while petting her. I can tell she enjoys it by the way she keeps her ears pulled back, giving me better access to the top of her head, and how her tail is wrapped around my leg. Hee hee. She's so easy to read. I love how no matter what emotion she's feeling, happy, annoyed, or anything, I can always tell right away. Since I'm here, I decide to sit next to Candace. She's such a player. You noticed it too, Macro? It's true. She's always like that. She's just completely oblivious to it. Claire sits down next to Macro as he mutters to himself. Come on, you two. Don't badmouth people when they can hear you. You make it sound as if I'm going around flirting with anyone. I'm just being nice. That's what I love about Miku. She's just so innocent. It's a deadly weapon. Even Kiefer's teasing me. I don't think I'm that dangerous. I just want to be friends with everyone. And even I understand that thinking might be a bit naive. Can we dig in yet? I'm not sure how much longer I can stand staring at this amazing feast without eating it. Angela interrupts our conversation, her eyes glued to the main course and drooling with anticipation. I guess she's feeling pretty hungry. I feel like I've seen a similar scene before. She really loves food. Haha, so true. We should start eating before the food gets cold. Okay, everyone, raise your glasses. At Ector's signal, everyone raises their glasses in their hands. Aside from Claire, Candace, and myself, who are drinking fruit juice, everyone's glasses are overflowing with ice cold ale. They must all have a high tolerance for alcohol. For the first time, we've managed to get everyone together in one place. It's thanks to each other and every one of you that we were able to rank up to the highest tier. I'm sure that we'll have more work than we can handle soon, but for now, let's celebrate our success, Ector exclaims. Wow, fine words from such a big mouthed, bratty kid. It brings tears to this old man's eyes. If you don't have anything nice to say, Wells, don't say anything at all. Wells is clearly making fun of Ector's speech, although a part of him seems touched by his words. Even I'm touched. Just as the thought crosses my mind, Wells lets out a loud oof. No one wants to hear what you have to say, old man. If we don't finish this toast soon, we're going to drown in a sea of drool from both Angela and Rinny, Marino warns him. Oh, that's Marino. No one wants to hear what you have to say, old man. If we don't finish this toast soon, we're going to drown in a sea of drool from both Angela and Rinny, Marino warns him. Sheesh. How many times have I told you to watch where you're throwing those things? Wells cries. Those heels of yours are like deadly weapons in your hands or feet. Would you like another? I'm fine for now, dearest princess. It seems as if Marino stamped down on Wells' feet under the table. It sounds painful. Are they really a couple? The way they're acting doesn't make it seem that way. Ector, hurry up. Seriously, another 2 seconds and I'm going in. Meat. Give me the meat. Haha. The three carnivores are about to break. Macro, Rini, and Angela look like they're about to dive into the feast spread before them. Candace is laughing heartily, but I'm starting to feel bad. But Candace is one of the carnivores, isn't she? All right. Fine. Okay. Everyone, I'll be counting on you in the days ahead. Cheers. Ector's greeted by a chorus of cheers from everyone around the table. Angela, Macro, and Rini immediately gulp down their ale before reaching for the meat. Their enthusiasm is something else. But this kind of thing is nice. The party feels so different from anything I ever experienced in my village, back in my village, and my heart fills with warmth and excitement as I sip my juice. Hehe, yummy. Claire's perspective. Party was a success. Everyone enjoying the food, both the food and the company. I also had a great time mingling and getting to know everyone. I was able to see how each person compares to the image I formed in my head of them and based on my in-game knowledge. There's so much you can only learn through conversation. Most of them were exactly the same as I expected, except for one guy. I haven't had a chance to talk with Ector yet. There's a lot I dislike about him, but I won't get anywhere without having a heart-to-heart convert with him. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, as they say. It's almost obvious how much I dislike him, and the way he hugged Miku without thinking about it earlier, his emotions are clear as day, really pissed me off. But I know how important it is to Miku that we all get along, and we won't be able to work together if I constantly distrust him. I don't think Hector is trying to hurt Miku. I can tell he's honestly trying to protect her. None of his actions make any sense, though. I know they won't until we have a chance to sit down and talk. I'm done dancing around the subject. Let's lay it all out on the table. By the time we'd finished cleaning everything up, Rennie and Wells, who'd both drunk way too much, were splayed out on the couch, snoring loudly. The only two left sitting at the table were Marino and Angela, who hadn't had their fill of ale. Hector and Miku had helped clear off the table, and Candace was nodding off. Macro and Kiefer had immediately retired to their rooms after stuffing their faces. I'll take care of the rest, Miku. So could you get Candace up to her room? I tell Miku. You should head to bed as well. Or what about you, Claire? I'll be up after I have a cup of tea. I need some time to myself. I feel bad for making Miku take care of Candace, but I need to clear the room somehow. Oblivious to my intentions, Miku cheerfully says good night before going over to Candace's side. She's so sweet and adorable. Thanks, Miku. I love you. After watching the two head upstairs, I start boiling some water while getting myself mentally ready. Hector, there's something I need to talk to you about. I sit down, 2 cups down, and silently brew tea for the both of us. Hector shrugs his shoulders with a wry smile, as if knowing what I'm about to say. Sure, we haven't had a chance to talk like this, just the two of us. Why don't we take this outside? The night air's refreshing, he says while placing our cups on a tray. He's a gentleman at the oddest of times. I grumble, annoyed, but following him out into the backyard. I immediately spot a small table with 2 rattan chairs on either side. It's the perfect spot to enjoy a cup of tea or read a book. With no one around, the quiet atmosphere makes it the perfect place for a private chat. After settling down, I take a sip of tea. The hot tea pouring down my throat contrasts sharply with the cool night air, causing me to shiver. Or am I merely trembling with excitement? Allow me to cut straight to the point. I say curtly, you're a reborn, and you know all about the game, don't you? He sets his cup down with a loud clack. He doesn't seem rattled by my question. Maybe he knew that this was coming. I am, and I'm assuming you are as well. You'd be correct. That went easier than expected. I guess we'd both assumed the same about the other for a while now. We'd have known this long ago if we hadn't been so busy trying to feel out each other's motives instead of talking about it point blank. What do you want? I asked through narrowed eyes. Mostly the same thing you do. Once I know what motivates him, I won't have to tiptoe around him anymore, which is why I decided to ask him directly. I wasn't expecting him to answer like that, though. There's no way I can be on board with anything after hearing such a wishy-washy answer. What I want is for Miku to be happy, I say firmly. There's no way I'll ever let her succumb to such a tragic ending like in the game. I'll protect her with my life, which is what I want as well. I would also protect Miku with my life. Liar! If you really meant it, you would keep your distance from her. You know that once she falls in love, her life is over. I promised I would support Miku wholeheartedly if and when she ever fell in love, but it would be even better if that never happened. Her very life being in danger is something that haunts me every waking moment of my day. She will eventually fall in love with someone, he says. Someday, he says coolly. This world may resemble the game we know, but it's also very different. Everyone has the freedom to live their own life the way they see fit. They're real people, not characters, Claire. I don't need him to tell me that. If she's going to fall for someone, it's better off being me, he continues. As someone who knows everything, I can swear I'll never look at another and break her heart. Knowing what he does, it sounds as if he feels he can protect her by being her partner instead of letting her go and watching passively as someone else potentially breaks her heart and leaves her to die. He would know himself better than anyone. He says he would never do anything to hurt her, but it's still too hard for me to swallow. How can I trust you when you could be saying anything simply to throw me off my game, I ask. The story's different now, which means you have no idea what's in store for us. or how you'll react. Besides, there's nothing more unbelievable than a man promising he'll never fall for anyone else. It's like you have some serious baggage from your past life, and whatever it is, it must have been pretty bad, he mutters under his breath as he looks at me, a mess of emotions caught in my throat. Don't bother sympathizing. You don't know me, and I'm not who matters anyway, right now. I understand where you're coming from, Claire, but you know I can't promise something like that, and it's clear this conversation is going nowhere. With my cheeks blazing with fiery worth, Hector simply apologizes, saying he's done discussing this with me. He's pretty good at keeping others at arm's length, which only succeeds in pissing me off more. I begin stroking my light pink tail in an attempt to calm myself down, my fur sticking up in obvious anger. I've become more accustomed to this body than I realized. I meant it when I said I want to save Miku no matter what, he says, which is why I think it's in our best interest to cooperate. I've got nothing to share with the likes of you, I hiss back at him. He's serious. He might sound flippant, but I can tell he's deadly serious. Thinking back, I realize he didn't put down or make light of the situation this whole time. I can see now that my mind is clear. Still, it's not enough. Emotions are fickle. Those seemingly genuine feelings you have today might be gone tomorrow. That's why you can never trust them. I'm assuming you're only familiar with the version aimed at girls, right? Or there's actually a Bishoujo game spin off released after. What are you talking about? Just as I feel myself sinking into despair, I'm snapped back to reality by this surprising information. You can't drop something like that so casually. The color drains from my face as he explains about that game. I had no idea anything like that existed. So, in this other version of the game, the male protagonist saves our village? The original story hadn't changed. We were playing through different versions of the same game. So that's why Candace has such a crush on you? I ask. Yeah, since I'm the male protagonist in the Bishoujo dating sim version, it makes sense that might happen. Ugh, so we weren't able to divert the story after all. Hang on a second. I don't feel anything for you, Hector. In fact, I don't feel anything toward anyone, and neither does Miku. Hector only nods in response. There's a high chance the world we're in is made up of the two different game scenarios. Then there's the two of us to consider the wild cards of the bunch. All of these factors mean we have absolutely no idea which direction the story will go from here on out. You're right. We can't let our guard down even for a second, especially since the main heroine hasn't shown up yet. The look Hector throws on me is almost piercingly powerful. That's right. Whether this is a game for girls or the racier male version, the heroine is still a constant variable. That naively devilish girl Lara, we say in unison, our words exactly the same. She has to show up sooner or later, and there's no doubt all of our fates rest on her shoulders. I glance over at Hector and notice he's still staring at me. Maybe this will work out after all. Although the force that drives us may differ, our end goal, that of protecting Miku, is the same. Besides, it's better to have as many allies as possible that you can call on whenever you need them. While I never agree with you what you hope to do, I still think we should work together, I say. I agree. I'll never give up on her, but I'm happy to help in whatever way I can. Rivals working together towards similar goals, the dry clap of our hands slapping together echoes loudly in the quiet night air. I'll make sure you live happily ever after, Miku, and to hell with the story. Bonus short story. So this is a little bit at the end. Claire, sob, Claire, hang on. I was so scared, sad. Mix of emotions poured from my eyes. I was afraid Claire was leaving me, going somewhere far away, almost paralyzed with fear. I refused to leave her bedside. I can't believe how long ago that feels now. Those long days almost feel like a dream, although I can't deny. Let me see, how much do we have? 20 pages. All right, I'll go to the bathroom and get some more tea, and this will be the last bit, and then we can do our raid. All right, you're back reading Surviving in Another World as a Villainous Fox Girl. We just finished up the first book and are now reading a bonus short story at the end. After we get through this, we'll do a raid and close up for the night. Bonus short story. Claire, Claire, hang on. I was so scared and sad. A mix of emotions poured from my eyes. I was afraid Claire was leaving me, going somewhere far away. Almost paralyzed with fear, I refused to leave her bedside. I can't believe how long ago that feels now. Those long days feel almost like a dream. Although I can't deny how truly scared I was back then. I mean, it was our birthday and we were having so much fun, and then Claire fell down and hit her head, and the next thing I knew, she was deep asleep with a high fever. I was only a little girl. I kept sobbing, thinking Claire was going to die. My parents laugh about it now, saying that's the only time they've seen me so upset. But why wouldn't I be? Claire and I have been together since we were born. I was prepared to take care of her for the rest of our lives if she never woke up, and if she died, then I would too. It might still have been just a young girl, but I meant it. Hug. Miku. What? Miku? Despite my fears and anxieties, Claire eventually opened her eyes. I'm not surprised she was completely fine, considering how strong and healthy she's been her entire life. Still, ever since that day, she opened her eyes, she's been, well, a little different. In fact, from that day forward, she pretty much acted like a completely different person. All right, we have to get water from the river or the well here. I miss tap water. What are you talking about, Claire? This is how we've always done it. There were so many situations like this where she'd utter strange words I've never heard before. Sometimes I'd ask our parents about it later, but they never seemed to know what she was talking about. Where could she have possibly learned words like those? It got to the point where I was so worried I'd start bawling my eyes out right there in front of her. You're not Claire at all. You're scary. You look like Claire, but, Miku, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to scare you on purpose. Please don't cry. She'd get all flustered, trying to calm me down. Once my sobs were reduced to sniffles, she'd say, I know. I'll tell you my secret, Miku, but you have to keep it a secret, okay? And you might not believe any of it. I'll believe you. I trust you completely, Claire, because you're my sister. I think I was about 3 years old at the time, but I still remember that moment clearly. Man, they've got great command of language at 3 years old. Wow. I don't remember much of what she actually said due to my young age, but it wasn't a big deal because, according to Claire, she'd been repeating those same words ever since. Although she always talks about how cute I looked at the time, all upset and pouty, and I'm a little miffed I can't remember. What I do remember, though, is believing every word that left her lips. I never doubted anything she said, not even for a moment. Honestly, I don't think I've ever hated her, and we've never fought in our entire lives. We get angry or annoyed from time to time, but it usually doesn't last long. No matter what happens, we're always quick to apologize. We're very close, and I know we always will be. We were about 5 years old when she first told me the world we're in is the same world from a game she used to play in her past life. At that point, I had grown enough, both mentally and physically, that I was more or less able to understand. The grown ups in our village, thinking she was merely playing a game of make believe, mostly ignored her. To be fair, when faced with a precocious 5-year-old girl who's suddenly talking about a horde of monsters someday attacking our village all because it happened in a game she loved in another life, Most people would assume she was merely playing make believe. I understand how they feel now, but at the time, we were always so annoyed. Why won't they believe us? We'd say. It's the truth. They'll have to believe us if we can actually put together some of the useful objects I remember from my past life, Claire said eventually. Although, I don't know how they work exactly. If I'd been more selective in my studies, maybe I could have hacked in this world and made my life easier. This is really important though, so I guess I'm gonna have to switch my strategy up. Although I didn't understand half of what Claire said at the time, sometimes still don't, I looked forward to a bright future together, not worried in the slightest. I trusted her completely, believing everything she told me. Besides, all of her stories were so interesting and exciting, especially when we were kids. I was always grateful, constantly thanking her for sharing her secret with me. Everything's going to be okay, Miku. I'll always protect you no matter what. So never leave me, okay? Okay. I'll always be here with you, Claire. I'd noticed she'd become far more protective of me since she started saying these weird things, and it worried me. Even as a kid, I could sense the disquiet deep in her heart. Now that I know the whole story, I understand why she is the way she is, although that doesn't make me worry any less. I want to continue to be here for her, no matter what. Although Claire ends up helping me out far more than the other way around, I'll always do what I can for her. Oh, right. It was around that time when we took our first bath together. I remember begging the carpenter in our village to make us a bathtub. He seemed completely baffled by what we were going to do with a big wooden box. I imagine how surprised he was when we told him the whole thing was to be filled with water so we could soak in it. All the adults looked at each other like we'd lost our minds. Suddenly, I'm sure he. Honestly, I'm sure I had the same look of incomprehension on my face. I can't stand the not being able to take a bath. My inner Japanese soul cries out for it, Claire had whined. I know none of what I'm saying makes sense, but soaking in a nice, hot bath is good for you, and I'll prove it. Claire had been right, and it wasn't long before everyone in our village began taking baths. I was a little nervous at first. I'd gone swimming in rivers countless times before, but had never dipped even a toe in steaming hot water. I remember how nervous everyone in our tiny village was at the very idea, seeing it as akin to stepping into a pot of water to boil themselves alive. But Claire looked so comfortable and warm in the bath that one by one, the other villagers began copying her. Of course, I followed her into the bath right away. I was nervous at first, but I'll never forget how I felt that first time. The water was so warm, enveloping my body in a comforting, cozy feeling. I never wanted to get out. Although Claire warned me that staying in the bath too long wasn't good either, explaining how if I didn't drink enough water or step out from time to time, I'd get dizzy and feel bad. Honestly, I'd seen my fair share of folks who didn't listen to her and got pretty lightheaded. She'd laugh every time, saying, "I told you so." That's when it really hit me. Claire really is a reborn, with memories from her previous life. She shouldn't know about any of these things, and yet she does. The story she'd been filling my head with since we were really young finally began to make sense, and it was all because of that silly bathtub. Hey, Claire. You are Claire, right? What's wrong, Miku? Of course I am. Who else would I be? For a while following that incident, I'd always ask her that question before bed. I asked her so many times that I'm sure she must have grown tired of it, and yet she always answered in the same way with a warm smile. And every time it helped ease my anxiety. At some point, I stopped asking her if she was Claire and instead began asking, "You're happy, right?" "Yes. Today we're both happy." I guess that's not really something you can really confirm with words. It's something you feel inside yourself. I could come to accept Claire the way she was now, little by little, ever since that day. Claire was Claire, even with those memories from a past life. Nothing would change what she meant to me. It took me some time to gradually come to grips with this new reality, but it happened. Hee hee. Thinking back to our childhood fills me with warm, fuzzy feelings. Hmm. Oh, are you awake, Miku? Morning! Haha. You were smiling in your sleep. I opened my eyes to see Claire giggling at me, already dressed and ready to go. What? No! I was smiling and talking in my sleep? How embarrassing! Morning, Claire. I had a dream when we were kids. Oh, yeah? Was there something funny enough to laugh about in your sleep? Claire asks, gazing off into the distance as if lost in thought. I'm sure that this is the start of another day for her, but I can't help but wake up every morning excited. Excited for what surprises lie around just around the corner. More importantly, the guys promised to take us to their favorite restaurant today, right? Claire reminds me, which means we have to make sure we get our work done first. That's right. Remembering our plans for the day, I immediately sit up in bed. Claire's been so busy filling our bellies with delicious food lately that Hector wanted to treat us to a fancy meal for once. Tired of my cooking already? Claire had said, asked, slightly annoyed, although the slight blush on her cheeks gave me the feeling that she knew it was his attempt at giving her a break. Hector was in such a hurry, I'm sure he didn't notice, which is a shame. I felt so bad. Has trouble being honest with herself. I wanted to explain how she acts grumpy to hide her embarrassment and discomfort, but it was too late. Let's do this, Claire says, firing us both up. Okay. We're still limited to keeping the house in order and running simple errands, but we do what we can, one thing at a time. Maybe later I should ask for some tips on expanding our repertoire. We spend the morning tidying up the Lana Killer Guild Hall and then head off to complete a fetch quest in the afternoon. We've been tasked with completing some of the jobs assigned to the guild since we joined. Basically, all of the really easy ones. With the guild having built up a reputation of dependability with the folks here in the city, I'm grateful they trust us, despite being so new here. There's no way we'd be able to find as much work without the name of a mid-tier guild behind us, which is a huge advantage. Granted, we wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Hector and the Lana Killer Guild. It's been an overall invaluable experience that I'm constantly grateful for. We might have gotten a tad carried away, Claire sighs. We went a bit overboard, I echo the sentiment. And now we've managed to get lost in the forest. Out on a mission to gather medicinal nuts, we stumbled upon a huge cluster, picking more than enough, which was great at first, but I didn't think they'd be this heavy. After filling our bags full of the nuts in question, we went to head back only to find them almost too heavy to carry. I felt bad tossing away some of the nuts we gathered after working so hard to get them, so we decided to head back to the entrance of the woods while taking plenty of breaks to rest. Along the way, we ended up slumped in the shadow of a tree, exhausted, which is when I looked up and realized I had no idea where we were. What should we do? Call for help? You could use your wings to fly over to Hector and the other guys while I wait here. But won't it be dangerous for you here all alone? Don't worry, I can take care of myself. It's true that Claire is stronger than me, especially when it comes to combat. With my ability to fly, I can move faster than she can on foot, so it makes sense for me to get help. But a part of me worries about the monster horde that attacked our village and if there are any stragglers still around. If I hurry, maybe it'll be fine, right? Just at that moment. There you are. Huh? Macro? What are you doing here? Claire asks. We're both still sitting on the ground, and we immediately look up in the direction of the voice to find Macro looking down at us, clearly annoyed, his arms folded. In response to Claire's surprised question, Macro explains how we were late coming back from our errand, and since okay, and since they couldn't leave for the restaurant without us, the three guys decided to split up and see where we might be. Now that he mentioned it, the sun's already started to sink. I hadn't realized how late it was. I'm so sorry. Claire apologizes. We came out here to get some nuts, and we ended up getting so worn out from carrying them that we got lost. Sorry, Macro. We got a little carried away. He glances at our bags, which are practically overflowing with nuts, and heaves a sigh. Heaves a huge sigh. Claire's ears droop sadly, and I'm sure mine do the same. Well, I guess there's no point in feeling bad about it. We'll get back to the city faster if we just ask for help. As I jump to my feet, Macro, who seems to be one step ahead, is already in front of us, reaching for both bags of nuts. Wait, Macro, those are really heavy. Panicked, I hurriedly call out to him, but he swings both bags over his shoulder as if they weigh nothing. What? It's no problem at all. Now let's hurry back. Wow. Macro immediately stomps off as if carrying 2 bags of feathers. I'm really impressed. Completely enchanted by his show of strength, Claire whispers quietly in my ear. Macro's a dwarf, remember? They're renowned for their strength. He might be short, but he's probably more powerful than any of us. Really? That's a little hard to believe. I definitely had a hard time doing so. Although, thinking back to the monster attack on our village, I remember Macro relying more on physical attacks than magical ones. Watching him send monsters that were double his size flying with his hands and feet was truly a sight to see. At the same time, I'd been so overwhelmed by the entire situation that I'd simply been impressed by everything. He's apparently great at hand-to-hand combat. Huh? That's good to know. Thank you for carrying our stuff, Macro. I say, we really appreciate it. It's fine. His response is blunt, and he refuses to look at either of us, but I can tell he's only covering up his embarrassment. I look over at Claire, and we share a secret smile. As we head back down the path that leads from the forest to the city, we bump into Rini, who's been out looking for us as well. On seeing Macro lugging 2 huge sacks full of nuts, he breaks down laughing, immediately understanding what happened. Hug, it's not that funny. You can't learn without making a few mistakes along the way. Sorry, he laughs. I've just never found myself in that kind of predicament before. I'm still blown away by how weak and fragile you 2 youngling ladies are. Who are you calling weak and fragile? Claire snaps at him. I work out all the time. I bet I'm stronger than most girls. It's just that you guys are all overpowered chowderheads. What's a chowderhead? Seriously, how do the princesses of the world even live their daily lives? What does he think most girls do? I quickly realize his look of bewilderment is genuine, and I can't help but giggle at how ridiculous the situation is. All right, he suddenly says. I told Hector I'd let him know right away once we found you 2, so I'll go on ahead. What? Hector was out looking for us too? Won't it be difficult to track him down, I ask? It's our fault they ended up running around town trying to track us down. With that in mind, I feel bad trying to rely on Rini to go further out of his way. However, Rini responds to my question while pointing to himself proudly. There's no nose better than mine. I'll be able to pick up Hector's scent right away, so don't worry your pretty little head about it. It's faster this way, too. I see. I guess his race has a very strong sense of smell. I didn't realize that was even a thing, and despite his size, he's very fast. My mind flashes back to the monster attack on our village and how he'd been a ginger blur, zipping from one ogre to the next. It was pretty amazing to watching him at work taking down one monster after another. It's funny how the 2 guys' appearances don't seem to match their strengths at all. Macro is small but strong, and Rini is large but quick. It's almost as if their abilities were swapped. Maybe they're more alike than I give them credit for. It's because he's a wild animal, Macro says dryly. What did you just say, you pouty jerk? Maybe the reason why they fight all the time is because of how similar they are? Claire and I both share a laugh and entrust locating Hector to Rini. Once those 2 start fighting, they never seem to stop. I just wish there was something I could do, but apparently this is how they've been since they were kids. Still, enough is enough. After saying goodbye to Rinny, the three of us head straight back home. By the time we arrive, it's already dusk, although I'm relieved we managed to get back before nightfall, mainly thanks to Macro's expert escort. Miku, Claire, I'm glad you're back safe and sound. Rinny and Hector must have been waiting for us in front of the guild. Upon seeing us, Hector rushes forward, clearly relieved, a huge smile on his face. He must have been really worried. I apologize immediately before thanking them for looking out for us, and Hector laughs it off, saying it was no problem at all. He's so sweet. What's most important is that you're safe. And Claire too, of course. Am I chopped liver or something? Flustered as I am usually when faced with kind words, Claire immediately steps in between us, destroying the mood. I can see the sparks flying between them. All she does lately is try to start fights over everything he says. That's not what I meant. Are you jealous or something? Hector provokes her. Seriously? I think your good looks have gone to your head. I have feelings too, you know, and you hurt them when you say stuff like that. Those two really can't get along, huh? They only just met not that long ago, so there's still time for them to maybe someday overcome their differences. I pray that day comes along sooner rather than later. Come on, I wish they'd just get along. Wahaha, nothing gets past you, Claire. Rainey laughs. I know first impressions can be deceptive, she says. You're spot on when it comes to Hector and his big head, Macro points out. Come on, Rainey, Macro. Even you guys are picking on me. The teasing seems to be good-natured. Although I can't tell if Claire is amused or annoyed, it's clear the three guys are very close friends. I can tell their teasing is based on mutual trust and not anger. How neat. I wish I had a friendship like that. Both Claire and I know Hector's a really good guy, though, I say with a smile. Miku! Miku's heart is like some pure oasis, Hector gushes. She's so incredibly sweet. She's like an angel. No, a goddess. Don't you think you're exaggerating just a bit? Being complimented that much is really just embarrassing. Rini and Macro are staring at Hector with looks of disgust on their faces. What should I do? I, of all people, know how angelic Miku is, Claire cuts in. But that's enough of that. Let's go get something to eat. Please lead the way. Hey, don't shove me, it hurts. You're seriously strong when you want to be. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, I'm going. Claire stepped past me and started shoving Hector from behind, forcing him to walk ahead. Is she hitting him a little too hard there? I wonder if he's okay. But I think she saved me from an awkward situation. My face would have turned beet red if he kept on praising me like that. It makes me happy and embarrassed all at the same time, after all. My face is still a little hot even now. Let's get going, Miku, Rini says to me. Everything they serve there is tasty. Okay, I'm looking forward to it, I say, running to catch up with the others. There's nothing better than good food. We arrive in front of a small wooden building with a homely, almost cozy feel to it. It seems to be a popular spot in town for folks who want a place to relax and enjoy some incredibly delicious and equal affordable food. So popular, in fact, that they might have a limit on the number of customers that they serve per day, requiring reservations days in advance. I can't believe that this is where we're eating. Was it hard getting a reservation? I asked, to which Hector winks at me. The owner set aside a table just for us. Lana Killers helped me out a lot in the past. When I heard they had a couple of new recruits on their hands, I said to myself, I can't pass up the chance to give back to the guild. The least I can do is get you a table, the owner tells me with a broad smile. He's a very pleasant and jovial fellow, and I realize he's probably one of the main reasons the restaurant is so popular. Then it's thanks to Hector, Rini, and Macro that we're here. I'm so grateful, I say, not hiding my excitement. The owner reaches over and pats my head while saying, You're such a good kid, huh? What? Why? Let's just start off with a toast, Hector says, to Claire and Miku. Thanks for joining the guild and becoming our friends. Thanks for helping us out. I'm always happy to answer any questions you got, Rennie offers. You should probably ask me, Macro interjects. This ginger dummy never knows what he's talking about. What the heck does that mean? I don't know how a simple toast triggered another fight. Smirking, Hector forces the toast past their fighting by raising his glass. Rennie and Macro are still glaring at each other, but they reluctantly raise their glasses anyway. Claire and I exchange glances before raising our own glasses. We look forward to working with you all. Now that we're all in this together, I hope you'll come to rely on us too, Claire says. Me too, I chime in. I'll do the best I can to be there for everyone. Cheers! Smiles appear on all our faces as we speak up in turn. I had no idea I could be this happy, being welcomed into a community outside of the village we grew up in. I've never experienced anything like this before. I let the three guys, choose from the menu, and every dish that came out was so yummy. I especially enjoyed the stir-fry meat with veggies with a sweet and spicy sauce. Blair loved the restaurant's signature soup, seasoned with a myriad of spices. So much so, she asked the owner how to make it. I'm content to simply enjoy my food, but Claire's always looking for a new recipe to add to her collection. That's how much she loves to cook. Maybe the soup will make an appearance on the Lana Killer Guild table in the future. I wonder if she could learn how to make this amazing stir-fry too. Miku, you should try this next, Hector says. It's my #1 recommendation. Hey, Rennie, I got that from Miku. Don't you go eating it on her. What the heck, you cheapskate? Let's order another plate, Rennie blurts out. Every piece of meat recommended by Hector, so different from anything I've ever seen in my home village, is delicious. I can sense Macro staring hungrily at the meat on my plate. Does he want some? I place a hunk of my meat on his plate, and his eyes widen in surprise before he quietly thanks me. His expression and tone of voice remain just as flat and expressionless as always, but I can tell by the twinkle in his eyes that he's happy. Watching him enjoy his meal makes me so happy that all I want to do is keep his plate full. I'm really glad he loves it so much. I feel like I've discovered so many new things today. Not just the amazing food in front of us, but through the mistakes we made earlier in the day out in the forest, and even more just learning about our 3 new friends. Being able to see them and this city in a new light while meeting new people like the owner here and discovering new places like this restaurant. My brain's almost overwhelmed by the recent flood of new information, and I wonder if I'll really be able to remember it all. With still more things to learn in the future, I worry about being able to keep up. I'm not sure if I can, but at least Claire is here with me. And my new friends, I'm sure there'll be many bumps along the way. But I'll work as hard as I can so I can enjoy more moments like this one. Miku, you look like you're having a lot of fun. Not that there is anything wrong with that, but make sure you don't let your feelings get the best of you. As we're eating, laughing, and having a great time, Claire leans over and whispers in my ear. Hee I know exactly what she's trying to say. Don't mistake your happiness for love. We both speak at the same time, and Claire's eyes widen in surprise. A moment later, she bursts into laughter. Good, I'm glad that you understand. Now then, have yourself a great time. I would. I will. And you should too, Claire. I'm not enjoying this. Not even one bit. I have to make sure Hector doesn't try anything. With that said, Claire reaches for some more food. Why can't you just be honest for once? Even I can easily tell her she's having a great time. There's no ignoring the way her tail wags happily from side to side. I'm sure my tail's doing the same. I'm sure we'll stumble into our fair share of difficulties in both life and work in the future. We may even end up fighting with our friends over who knows what. But I think that together we'll be able to get through anything. In fact, I know it. I'll keep doing the best I can. May this happiness last forever and ever. As I watch the warm scene around me, I say a silent prayer deep inside my heart. Ah. And this is an afterword, and I think I'll read this because it's about the author's thoughts and why they came to this, which is really important to me. Hello, everyone. I'm Mia Ai, a Japanese novelist. Thank you very much for reading my novel. I started writing this story out of the casual desire to write about cute fox girls and filled it with all my favorite elements from there, such as fluffy creatures, transformations, and girls who are the epitome of adorable pureness. So you can imagine, I never dreamed this work would get a translated, published release. I'd be thrilled if you enjoyed what you read. If it was you, would you believe your family member if they one day suddenly said, I have memories of my past life, and this is a video game world? I'm sure the level of trust you already have in that person would affect its impact, but I get the feeling I probably wouldn't be able to believe them anyway. But Miku decides to believe her sister to the very end, even though she's very doubtful at times. I feel like I learned through Miku that it's important to decide for yourself what you believe in. It might sound strange for the author to learn from their characters, but I learn a lot from them. I write with the sense that the story has a world of its own and the characters really live there. I plan to continue seeing where their lives go and putting it down on paper as I learn from them. Last but not least, I would like to thank everyone who worked on the English translations and the illustrator who drew the gorgeous illustrations. I'm very grateful to every last one of you. Thanks to you, I was able to put out this lovely story. I also extend my deepest gratitude to everyone who took an interest in this story and read it. Thank you. I hope I was able to entertain for a few hours. And these are novels that are from the same publishing company, I guess. All right. We are at the end. Let's look at raid opportunities. Of course, it's busy tonight. Mocha just opened up again. We raided her last night. Indamati, still up. Zeus is still up. We haven't raided him in a while. Kid Funaki, haven't seen them in a while. Tori. A lot of people. A lot of people that I don't see regularly are up here. Repo's pretty popular. Pocket trash. Oh, dude. She's doing well. Let's see. I haven't rated Darling, how she's doing.